How are you?
Super. Just super.
I'm glad that you're super. Michelle, good morning. How are you? I know this is somewhat of a national holiday for you with the SEC tournament getting underway today.
Yeah, today would be probably equivalent to almost Christmas, but the first day of the real tournament, that's Christmas part 2.
Okay.
Although the one thing is, like, all due respect to the 11 through 14 seeds, like
Yeah.
the first
Games
day
kind of
is,
suck today.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's a
know.
little-
I'm like excited, but I'm also like itching for tomorrow because I'm excited for those games.
That's kind of
but
when it really
This is like an appetizer.
going.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, they do have practices today. Open practices. You going to the open practices?
Heck yeah. I didn't know that was happening today.
Well,
That means I need to read my credential email.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's in there. Check it out.
Today's the appetizer. It's like bringing out the spinach artichoke dip or whatever today. Then tomorrow's the steak.
Right. Yeah, something like that.
Friday's the steak.
Friday's the steak.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Chicken tenders.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's kind of like an in-between entree.
I've already ruined the
it's an
show.
entree.
I'm
Yeah.
minute into it.
I'm trying to. That's an interesting dinner. The spinach artichoke dip, chicken tenders, then you get right to the steak.
Right to the steak. Get in there. Got a lot to get to on the program here today besides my weird food choices. We'll have Mike Wilson from the Knoxville News Sentinel coming up at 6:30. Get his thoughts on the Vols as they interplay in the SEC tournament. Paul Koharski from paulkoharski.com at 8 o'clock to talk all things Titans. Willie Donick resumes his battle with Joe Rexrode at 8:30 today on the program, looking ahead to Vanderbilt's path to the tournament. So I'm looking forward to that.
Willie just said.
Special request.
Willie said, "Put me on right here.
Put me on the show.
You're going down, man."
I got things to say to Joe. And he was taking notes last night, the entire page full. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I can't wait to hear this. He's gonna have Vanderbilt's gonna be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. It's gonna be
I
amazing.
feel like he did so much research, and I absolutely, when I saw the text and he had all of us in a group message, and he was like, "So I would like to rant as well." We're like, "Heck yeah, Willie!"
Okay, Willie.
Let's
We'll always
do
make
it.
time for that. So looking
Yes.
forward to that coming up at 8:30. We begin with some NFL news that was trickling out there yesterday. A couple of big items to get to. We'll get to all of those here in the next few minutes. We start with Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers is the next quarterback domino to fall when it comes to quarterback movement, or at least potential quarterback movement this offseason. And Woody Johnson, owner of the New York Jets, took his plane, and apparently probably head coach Robert Saleh, I think Nathaniel Hackett was a part of it as well, and they went out to California yesterday to meet with Aaron Rodgers. So apparently no decision has been made. Rodgers met with the Jets, I guess virtually, a couple of days ago to discuss a potential trade. And then yesterday, the Jets flew out to Southern California, where Rodgers currently is, and met with him and left at around 11:26 local time last night. So the Jets, I would assume, are back in New York. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers came with them. I don't know that if he's still out there in California, if he's made his decision yet or what. But there's starting to be a lot of smoke as it relates to the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers when your team owner is flying his plane out there to talk with Aaron Rodgers. Which
think
also
so.
means that the Green Bay Packers have said, yeah, go talk with him. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that I got to think that's where it's going to end up, right?
I mean, it's looking that way.
And of course, yeah. So of course that's like you said, that's a huge domino. And then you have what we're going to talk about, the other quarterback thing that's really wild. It's heating up out there.
It is heating up there. I would have paid a pretty good amount of money to be in the same room as Aaron Rodgers welcomed Woody Johnson into whatever establishment they met with last night, who, by the way, is the owner of Johnson & Johnson. We know what that was like with Aaron Rodgers. So I would have paid a lot of money to watch that unfold last night.
Yeah. Like I wonder, what did they do? Like,
What y'all doing?
Was the room lit? Was there some? Oh my gosh, what's that? First segment, words eluding me. The stuff you light.
Sage?
You know, no,
Candles?
no. God dang it!
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like lava lamps. That was another joke
Lava
that could have
lamps,
gone.
all right.
No, but it's not that. It's
Salt lamp?
Incense.
Incense.
God.
There we go. You nailed it. We got there eventually.
Ridiculous.
604.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to make a joke about incense and lava lamps, and I totally botched it.
We'll see what happens on the Aaron Rodgers front, but it's certainly looking like the New York Jets could be a strong possibility there. So we'll see what happens on that front. Lamar Jackson given the non-exclusive franchise tag yesterday by the Baltimore Ravens. So they've been negotiating for a long time at this point and have not been able to finalize a deal. And the Baltimore Ravens placing not only the franchise tag, but the non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson yesterday, which means that other teams are open to try and negotiate a contract with Lamar Jackson, and we'll see what happens on that front. We got a lot of thoughts to get to on that, but I guess, Joe, we'll start with this. How surprised are you that the Ravens have made this a non-exclusive franchise tag as it relates to their negotiations with Lamar Jackson?
Well, as I see I guess initially kind of, but it makes sense, and now you're seeing all these teams just falling all over themselves to tell reporters they're not interested in him, which of course already has people talking about collusion, and I mean I have no idea. I just know that there was a lot of smoke about Atlanta, and they certainly wanted to get it out there that they aren't in on this, which I don't know, I mean it kind of surprises me.
Yeah,
but they did draft Desmond Ridder. I mean, some of these answers could be related to how do you feel about, if you do have a young quarterback in the fold, how do you feel about him? Because obviously it's a lot cheaper to have Desmond Ridder, than Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
But it's interesting. Basically it feels to me like the Ravens saying, okay, go see what you can do. It also feels like this whole thing is contentious, and the thing is, I think the agent thing is a huge mistake by Lamar Jackson on a couple fronts. One, this is the type of thing that an agent, you can get a lay of the land on things like this if you have an experienced agent who works in the league.
Yep.
And if it's just you, then you don't have that benefit. But also, if you are directly, how many players, negotiations get contentious all the time, but that's a whole thing with agents. They're the ones in the room.
exactly.
So when it gets emotional and stuff, they come back to you and tell you, and a lot of things can be diffused that way. If you're the one directly negotiating for yourself, how could it not get emotional? So Lamar Jackson, look, Jimmy Haslam really has done this to the NFL with the Deshaun Watson deal. Basically, this is Jimmy Haslam, and it does look like you could be sitting here having owners in this league kind of working together for some price control right now. That's I don't know if that's the case or not. And if it is the case, are we going to know that? Probably not. People are speculating it already. But I also feel like, look, when it comes down to it, when you talk about collusion, price control and stuff like that, there's plenty of owners in this league who'll be like, well, screw you, I want a Super Bowl. Like, if they thought enough of Lamar Jackson, I don't think that would. Well, I really want him, but we've agreed to do this and help ourselves. I don't know, man. We're talking about billionaires.
Yeah,
we're talking about billionaires trying to win championships. So, to me, even that idea gets blown up if someone really believes in Lamar Jackson. I can't believe there's not a team out there who wouldn't be willing to pay that price.
Well, the price is. So from the Ravens standpoint, if they would have signed into an exclusive franchise tag, it had been $45.2 million for next year. With a non-exclusive tag, it's $32.4. So that's a big difference for next year.
Yes.
So that's part of this. Now the other part of this is, to your point, like if a team wants to sign him to a contract, it's going to cost them whatever it costs to sign Lamar Jackson to the contract, plus 2 first-round picks.
Yes.
And that's a heck of a cost for that too. Now, I say if you think that Lamar Jackson can continue to be the player that he's been over the course of the past 3 or 4 years, that's probably worth it to me. Now, depending on what the number ends up being. But apparently that's not as clear-cut as I thought it might be in the Lamar Jackson situation. I'm really interested to see, is there somebody that emerges that says, you know what, we'll pay the price. We'll pay whatever – the number that we feel comfortable paying Lamar Jackson that we can agree to, and we'll give the Ravens 2 first-round picks. We'll do it. I'm interested to see if anybody emerges after this quarterback picture starts to get shaken up a little bit, maybe as soon as today with Aaron Rodgers.
Well, what we don't know also, at least I don't think, is what the latest offer is from the Ravens.
Yep.
Is he going to get better than whatever that is? He's not going to get the guaranteed money he wants to get.
No.
Like it's not going to happen, So the big thing with the two different tags is if this doesn't, work out where he gets a deal with another team, is he going to sit this year and not play for 32? Like to me, and then by the way, he could still be tagged again next year,
Right.
But I feel like there's a real possibility of that. Whereas at 45, with the exclusive tag, I feel like you're gonna, I feel like you're gonna play at 45.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's still, if you sit this year, I mean, you're costing yourself $32 million. So I mean, I don't know. Like it's.
I get it. I mean, look, it's I still have to think someone, but it's just different with Lamar Jackson because I feel like he's right on the fringe of the top tier of NFL quarterbacks, but he is different. Their offense is different.
Yeah.
Now, he played actually more in an NFL-like offense at Louisville, so it's not like we've never seen him in that offense, but I feel like maybe that's some of this too, some of the hesitation from teams. I can't believe that there's not a team. I mean, like if I'm the Dolphins, I don't know.
They're apparently not moving off Tua.
Yeah. And so, look, I hope they're right and that Tua is going to be fine. But I'd be real concerned about that if I were them. I just can't believe there isn't someone who wouldn't see this as an opportunity to. Again, you always mold what you do to your best players. I mean, you're talking about a guy, and I understand the playoff, record and all that stuff. Titans are a big part of that, good and bad for him. But he's a great player. The first round pick thing is definitely a deterrent.
615-737-1025. We're off and running on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on Lamar Jackson. We'll take your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers. Daniel Jones signing a big deal yesterday for the New York Giants. Should the Titans be interested in Lamar Jackson? We'll get into that coming up next as well. Mark, hang with us. We'll get to you on the other side. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Gary Ashton here. People walk up to me all the time and say, don't sell without the intel. This message couldn't be more true. Right now is a fantastic time to buy or sell your home in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. No one has more intel than the Gary Ashton team. So what is this intel we keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without stagings or showings? Intel on where to find your next home so that you can sell your current home while the market is hot? An intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity. For more intel, visit GaryAshton.com, where we can give you the insight and the most up-to-date real estate intel in Nashville. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate team of the Nashville Predators. Get the confidence to sell your home and find the dream address without the stress. Visit us today at GaryAshton.com. That's GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Yeah!
Yes! Hey, Jim, everything okay? Did you see that catch?
No. Yeah, I'm happy about the touchdown. Just things are kind of off with me and Tiffany.
Hey, what's going on?
It's a little embarrassing, but I'm not making it happen in the bedroom. I don't know what's going on with me. And now Tiffany's upset. She thinks I'm not attracted to her anymore.
Hey, I had the same problem. But, man, I found a secret.
Oh, yeah?
I started going to the Tennessee Men's Clinic for treatments, and boom, our sex life improved. Plus, I started taking testosterone, and I've got loads more energy.
Tell me more. Maybe it'll work for me.
The people at Tennessee Men's Clinic are low testosterone and ED specialists with multiple treatment options. It definitely helped me. And I got to tell you, now I can go the distance every time. Heather says I'm better than ever.
Hey, I'm in. What's their contact info?
You can book appointments online or just give them a call.
Great. Thanks, man. Hey, could you move away from the TV? You can't see.
Your first visit to the Tennessee Men's Clinic is only $99. Book your appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or book online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Mark from Nashville. Mark, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, what's up, Robby, Joe, Michelle? Hey, Joe, you're 100% right. Lamar needs an agent. He really does. I know he wants to keep his money, but he could really use an agent right now. I really thought, I don't know if Atlanta's really backing out. I really wanted to see him go to Atlanta and get with Arthur Smith. I think Arthur Smith's top 3 play caller in the NFL right now. That would have been a great fit for him. Aaron Rodgers, he's probably going to sign with the Jets. I don't think the Falcons are going to really want to go with Ritter. I don't think the Ravens really want Lamar back. That's why they're kind of sending him out there like they're doing. And to get to that tournament, Joe, Vanderbilt, they'll probably be NIT bound. Michelle's Kentucky Wildcats, they're going to be in the final championship game with Tennessee. And now I'm getting ready to do my pep talk with you, Joe.
Okay,
here we go.
I want you to focus today, even if you got to go in a dark room and meditate for a minute, Joe. I mean, you can do this, man. I mean, seriously, you can. Just don't allow yourself, Joe, 3 things. Don't get caught up with bringing up Taylor Warren anymore. Don't bring up Bud Dupree. And stay away from that salary cap stuff that Steelman likes to throw out there all the time. Stay away from it, Joe.
That's a good...
Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah, I mean, Joe, you can do this, man. You can win 4 in a row. I believe in you. You know I do. I told you I was going to call you today and pep talk you.
Mark, we're going to start referring to you as Coach Mark. I really enjoyed that.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, Joe, you the man, Joe. You can do it. Like I said, man. You just meditate if you have to. But don't get caught up in all that old craziness that Steelman be talking about, because, you know, he kind of likes to get you frustrated. And I notice when you do get a little frustrated, Joe, that's when you kind of start losing the room. You can't do that.
It's awesome.
These are all fair points, Mark.
Mark, thanks for calling in. I'm rooting for Joe later this afternoon.
I love y'all guys, man.
We love you, Mark.
Love y'all, man.
Thanks,
all right,
Mark.
we'll see you, man.
All righty. Mark from Nashville calling in, giving Joe his pep talk for Jared versus Joe later today. I think every point he hit on is a sound strategy for you.
Lawan. Wait, what about Dupree? I forget Dupree. What's the Dupree?
I don't know, but he said stay away from it.
Okay.
Stay away from it.
Okay.
I think it was the reworking the contract.
There you go. Stay away from it.
Okay.
They just want him out.
And I will not.
Don't lose the room.
Right. I will not say Kapanon. I will not use that term at all. And yeah, it's true. If Caroline brings up the cap, I'm just gonna plead the fifth.
We'll just go somewhere else.
Let's go to the next question. Yeah. And then don't totally melt down too. That's a good idea.
That's a good job.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. So Joe, back to the Lamar Jackson conversation. The natural question when something like this happens and a quarterback is now, I guess, technically available out there, should the Tennessee Titans pursue? Should the Tennessee Titans pursue Lamar Jackson, in your opinion? Now, we went over the price. It's going to cost you whatever it takes to get the Lamar Jackson deal done and the money that comes along with that. And it's also going to cost you 2 additional first-round picks in addition to the money that you'll be paying Lamar Jackson. So that is a significant price that you would have to pay. What are your thoughts on this? Should the Titans pursue Lamar Jackson?
Well, I guess my answer is probably a wishy-washy answer, but I would say that you should certainly think about it. It's just, it's a huge investment, and so project it ahead. So then you think about losing the picks. You think about what that does to your salary cap, because it does count. And then you look at where you are. I think it could be tough in the short term. And another thing I think the biggest question about him, it's like I feel like with any of these things, like A.J. Brown or whatever, it's like, how many players can we look to and say, that guy just never gets hurt? Some like Kevin Byard. That's why I keep paying Kevin Byard. He's getting older and stuff, and he has a big number. Like, the guy is always available for every single snap. It's a huge, huge thing. And with Lamar Jackson and the injury this last year, I do wonder that guy takes a lot of hits. I mean, this is the problem with the approach, with the offense, and his style is that he is open to hits as a runner a lot more than as a protected quarterback, and I do wonder if that's just going to continue to progress that way. So I'm talking myself out of it, but I don't think you could. I mean, if I'm any team in this league that doesn't have one of those handful of quarterbacks, I think you have to at least really examine this and say, what if we had Lamar Jackson and we built things around him? You're telling me that we couldn't win a Super Bowl? I reject that. I do look at what they've had around him. I mean, it hasn't been good. I mean, I'd love to see Lamar Jackson one time in his career with a great receiver. He hasn't had anything close to it. He hasn't had a good receiver in his career. He had very good tight ends. But I think you have to have a real in-depth conversation about it. Ultimately, if it was me and in the Titan situation, I'd probably pass.
It's interesting because, my real answer to this question comes down to the money. I have no idea what a deal for Lamar Jackson would look like. The other thing to keep in mind here is, if somebody negotiates a contract with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens like it, they can match it. Now, with it getting to this point, I wonder as to whether or not they would do it. What exactly is he asking for? What are the Ravens offering? How big is the gap between the two? And with the relationship being what it looks like it might be right now between Lamar and the Ravens, what is Lamar willing to take somewhere else to get a deal done? I don't know the answer to any of that. If Lamar Jackson is looking for, a $215 million contract fully guaranteed, then no thanks, man. I'm out.
Well, right, he's not going to get it. So you're right. That really is if it's that or nothing, then it's well, I don't know what the number. I think there's been some reporting on the Ravens number. It's triple digits, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just.
I think he wants.
Well, yeah,
Deshaun.
Yeah.
There's no chance he's getting that.
Right.
Yeah.
He wants that. Yeah. Yeah, that's clear. And I agree. He's not going to get it. And again, Jimmy Haslam, man. He is not invited to the cocktail party of the. He and Daniel Snyder will have to go on Snyder's boat, and
maybe this was the play for Jimmy Haslam all along. He's like, you know what? I may look stupid with Deshaun Watson, but we're going to get Lamar Jackson out of Baltimore. That's what we're doing.
There you go. Yeah, you get.
Might want to worry about Joe Burrow.
Rival franchise.
There's that too.
That's the next. That's the next target.
I'm sure he's sitting back, Joe Burrow, and just watching all of this unfold and thinking, I'm about to make a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Whole lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's gonna. I just can't believe that this is gonna end up no one making a serious play for him. But I can't. The Falcons. I agree with Mark. To me, it's you're Arthur Smith. You're going into year 3. Yeah, you drafted Desmond Ridder, and who knows? I have to look at their reported lack of interest is confidence in him, right? Because if I'm Arthur Smith, and look at what they kind of did with their offense with Marcus last year, I agree with Mark. I feel like that could be really fascinating and a really effective pairing. And if you're Arthur Smith, at some point you need to win.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I think they definitely made progress last year, and they did some good things. You see some good coaching on display, but year 3, you need to win. You tell me if you put Lamar Jackson in there with that team, that they wouldn't. I mean, I guess all of a sudden Saints-Falcons would be fun, huh?
It would.
I mean, I think the Falcons would be the favorite and could potentially be great with him. So
I'm just saying, you said yesterday you would be really interested to see what a Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry combo could look like, and we were talking about maybe in Baltimore if the Titans are shopping Derrick Henry. Well, I mean, there's a chance Titans could make this happen.
That's
Go
true.
negotiate a deal with Lamar Jackson and keep Derrick Henry around, and that could happen.
I mean,
I don't think it's very likely, but it could happen.
We'd be talking about some 2-hour and 15-minute games. Like
games would be
4
quick.
passes.
Yes.
I am all
read
for
option.
that. Seriously, that would be fun.
It would be a lot of fun. I don't know that it would work, but it'd be a lot of fun.
I mean, the funny thing is too, it's like the Titans' offensive line was a huge problem last year, obviously, as we know, and they have to fix it, of course. But it also changes like what kind of offensive line you need a little bit.
Yes.
If you had that, and it probably would be like it would be less of a glaring issue if you had that offense here.
Yeah.
So
maybe you're talking yourself into it.
Go hire Greg Roman.
Gosh.
Where is Greg Roman? Did he get a
know.
job anywhere else?
I don't know.
Just become Ravens Southwest.
I'm sure Titans fans would love that. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Mike Wilson from the Knoxville News-Sentinel. We'll get his thoughts on the Tennessee Vols as they prepare for play in the SEC tournament. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, I'm Ryan Johansson, and this is Smashville.
Back to Johansson, and Johansson tips it in with one hand on the stick.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Welcome to Smashville, home of the biggest hits in hockey and the loudest parties on Broadway. Join us at Bridgestone Arena Tuesday, March 14th for College Night with Auburn University as your Nashville Predators take on the Detroit Red Wings. Purchase your College Night tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/tickets to receive a limited edition Preds and Auburn co-branded hat. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Grab your tickets while you still can. We can't wait to see you back inside Bridgestone Arena. Let's go, Preds!
Hey, it's Jared for Hiller. Sometimes replacing equipment in your home can be overlooked until something breaks, but there's actually big problems that can come from outdated old vintage HVAC systems. Older systems require more maintenance and results in higher utility bills. This month during Hiller's Vintage Showdown, they're giving away a free HVAC system to the owner of the oldest unit. It's easy to enter. Just go online to happyhiller.com and submit a picture of your old unit. Everybody wins with a trade-in credit and 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on replacement. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. they have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robby and Rexrode 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Wednesday morning. The SEC tournament officially getting underway today at Bridgestone Arena. And to help us talk more about that and the Tennessee Volunteers, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Mike Wilson from the Knoxville News Sentinel. Mike, good morning. I'm glad you could spend the first part of your morning with us. It's good to have you here.
Good morning, and I did better than I thought I would on Twitter when I said I'd be awake 30 seconds before the phone rang, so we're feeling great today.
Oh, good. This is dedication from Mike. We appreciate you being with us this morning. So, Mike, obviously, the loss of Zakai Ziegler is huge for this team. From your vantage point, as you watch the Vols try to overcome that loss, how much does that limit what you think this team can be as they move forward into the SEC tournament and ultimately into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, he's the only true point-type player on the roster. He's also the best guy to create, take a guy off the dribble. He's an incredible defender. I mean, he is undoubtedly one of their 2 best players, if not their best player. And that's hard for any team to overcome, obviously, going this time of year. But, yeah, that's a position with the thinnest amount of options in terms of true players there. Obviously, Santiago Vescovi is a great player and can do it there. But, yeah, when you lose a guy like Zakai, it's going to limit your ceiling. And, obviously, that hurts Tennessee a good bit.
So in the first, full game, because they obviously played great, just ran Arkansas out of the building the game he got hurt. But I thought there was actually a lot of good in the first 34 minutes of the game at Auburn. They're up 3, and then they go through, the drought. So what did you think of like the first look at them without Ziegler? And keeping in mind, the thing is, like, the drought, they didn't have it. It's like, man, they could really use a point guard. Of course, this team has had those droughts with him too, Mike, right? So, like, what did you feel any differently, I guess, about how they're going to adjust and what they could do from here based on the Auburn game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most encouraging thing for Tennessee Saturday and also probably the last 3 weeks is the way that Santi has been playing at point guard / shooting guard, whatever he's been playing lately. He's looked to me like the player that everyone thought he was going to be going into this season when he was preseason first-team All-SEC. He's creating a little bit more offensively, shooting the ball really well. I think he's got at least 3 threes and 7 of 8, shooting about 40% clip in that stretch. I thought that was great. I thought they bought some possessions with other guys running the offense just a little bit, which is good to get Santi off ball because that is where he thrives. But yeah, I mean, the 6 minute 50-ish second lull after Santi hit a 3, put him ahead 63-60. That's disappointing. They did have those with Zakai, but you like to think that there's an opportunity for a created play or something out of that. But yeah, Tennessee's limited offensively, I think, a little bit when you do take Zakai Ziegler out of the mix. But Jemai Meshack has a lot of opportunity here. The big men have to be better than they were at Auburn, but Tennessee did score 70 points. That's a good sign, I think, for them. It's also a good sign they're done with road games as well.
Mike, we kind of floated this out there the other day when we were talking about the Vols heading into the tournament. Obviously, you're the number 5 seed. You don't get the double bye. But with Ziegler being out, could potential more playing time maybe benefit Tennessee before they head into the NCAA tournament, just given the fact that you're trying to find a way to operate your offense without Zakai Ziegler being in there?
Yeah, I do think so. I asked Rick Barnes that last, I think, Thursday between the Arkansas game and Auburn game, and just kind of said, is that an upside? If you don't get the 4 seed, you get to mesh a little bit longer. And I think his answer is kind of, you can look at it any way you want to look at it, but certainly like that's something that exists for this team. And they do get that now. They get a chance to play kind of their new world, new lineup without Zakai. And that is a good opportunity, I think. Obviously, you get either South Carolina or Ole Miss, and both of them are teams you'd like to think Tennessee beats, advances, gets Mizzou in that next round. And, yeah, I think that's a good opportunity to get an extra game, assuming you win that first one.
You know, you mentioned Meshack. I feel like one thing you saw in the Auburn game, because I was like, man, but this is not a great, first game without Ziegler when you're going against Wendell Green, but I thought Meshack was easily the best defender on him. And I mean, to me, Meshack is a guy who in an NCAA tournament matchup or even a matchup this week in the SEC tournament, if you got a point guard, like you've got to keep this guy to the lane. I feel like he's the best option, but then, you don't want him on defense as much. But do you think, offensively that could trip you up, right? So how do you think that goes? Do you think we may be seeing, like a game here with 30-plus minutes from him just because he can guard the point guard?
I mean, he's one of Tennessee's better players at this point. And he's been that for a minute as well. I think you probably go back to Alabama when he really entrenched himself with the way that he handled Brandon Miller. He's taken on that challenge. I mean, he's a tenacious defender. I think I've probably tweeted it at some point during the season that not a lot of guys, if any, play harder than Jemai Meshack, the way that he deals with opponents. And I think when you're talking about matchups and talking about moving forward, you do have to take that and understand that you're not going to get quite as much offensively, but what you're going to get defensively can change a game as well. And, I mean, Rick Barnes, if you can't play defense, you're not going to play at all.
Robby and Rexrode. So, Mike, how big of an opportunity, but how important is it that Julian Phillips responds to the opportunity if Tennessee is going to do anything moving forward, especially offensively?
That sums up most of the season to me. You saw that performance he had against USC with 25 points, 8 rebounds in the Bahamas in November. And you're thinking, oh, here's the one and done, lottery pick, guy who kind of can do it all, does it all. He just hasn't been that player enough this season. And his ceiling or his abilities are heavily tied to Tennessee's ceiling, especially without Zakai Ziegler. He's their best bet to get to the free throw line. He's their best guy off the dribble without Zakai Ziegler. He's got to be that. Just hasn't been that consistently enough this season. He did look nice, I thought, in the second half at Auburn. I thought he was probably the catalyst after Tennessee started to fall behind in terms of not letting them fall far behind initially, but he's got to do more. I think that's a guy with too much talent to be as disappearing and passive as he's been at times this season.
What's up with the big guys right now? I feel like Plavsic, I still want more from him, and at times I'm like, gosh, who's stopping him in the post? Kamwa at times can be tremendous. I mean, you and I were texting last game, like, is he hurt? He hasn't played at all in the second half, and I know that he'll fail to box out or something, and Rick will sit him down, and all of a sudden 12 minutes goes by. But I feel like he could be a huge answer here. How do you assess? And meanwhile, Awaka has been I mean, that guy is. I mean, he is a rebounding machine. How do you assess that group at this point?
Yeah, I mean, it's concerning and also interestingly positive for the future to say this, but Jonas Adu and Tobe Awaka are their best 2 big men right now. That's why he picks up the fouls he does. He just goes. He's going to go get the ball as best he can because he sees ball, he's going to get the ball. And Jonas, from a shot-blocking defense perspective, gives them something that no one else in the roster does. But it's the lack of consistency when you talk about Urosh and Olivier that I think is really tough to rationalize. From a raw skills perspective, Olivier should be their best big man. So athletic, so much rebounding potential, scoring potential, just never strings it together enough. Urosh, when you talk about a muck-it-up game, is a good option for them, but the things that they get from the other guys, I think, often eclipses that. That's why you saw Uroshi's minutes dip during the February stretch there a bit. But, yeah, when it comes to Jonas and Tobey, you kind of know their shortcomings. Tobey is going to pick up a lot of fouls chasing rebounds. Jonas is going to have some occasional lapses. He's going to lose some balls because he's not the strongest kid right now. But you at least know those things, and you can live with them. But I think it's a struggle sometimes to live with not knowing what you're going to get out of two senior big men.
Mike, what's on the line, in your opinion, for Tennessee this week at the SEC tournament in terms of seeding moving forward for the NCAA?
I mean, you can't afford a loss in the first game. That would almost surely drop Tennessee to a 4 line. I think probably you win 1, lose the second, you're probably still a 3. And Joe and I have talked about this looking like Greensboro. It seems like the destination there. But, you win 2, you're certainly in that line. Run through the whole thing. Maybe you're in a conversation for a little bit higher, but it does seem like Tennessee's kind of entrenched itself there in that 3 seed line, which makes a lot of sense. They have 3 of the best wins in the country. Only probably 1 bad loss, being Colorado back in November. Vanderbilt obviously is taken off late in the season with some other wins, so that loss doesn't look jarring for Tennessee. So they've got a good resume. You just got to avoid a clunker loss, I think, in Nashville.
So what about the fan base right now? I know that we have to be careful to judge anything in humanity on Vol Twitter, but I do feel like, Mike, and I know you have more direct contact on these things. I do feel like there's a little bit extra frustration right now with the fan base with this program, and I probably having to do with, one, of course, the NCAA tournament last year and in other years, but also just how good this team looked. Even before Ziegler got hurt, how good it looked, and then how it dipped. What's the temperature of the Tennessee men's basketball fan base?
Again, yeah, the Vol Twitter faction is obviously just a percentage of the fan base, but I think throughout a lot of the season there was an apathy that was basically they look a lot like last year's team. I wonder what they do in March. I'll decide then what I think about this team in terms of the success they were having in the regular season, sitting at a top 5 ranking again and all of that. And I get that. For the teams that Rick Barnes has had here, the March success hasn't quite lined up. It is interesting. This is the 3rd time now in 5 NCAA tournament appearances where an injury is going to have a direct effect on what Tennessee does in March. You look back to Kyle Alexander against Loyola, Olivier Kamwa last year, and now Zakai Ziegler. So they've had some bad breaks there. But I think a lot of people are just kind of there were a few tweets I got after the Auburn game. Classic Barnes ball. I can't get it done. All those sorts of things. And I don't know. The reality about this Tennessee team is it isn't sexy. It doesn't play a sexy brand of basketball. It plays a grind it out, throw you in the mud defense. They can score the ball sometimes when they want to, but for the most part, you're going to watch a team that just plays really hard defensively, and that's harder to appreciate. It's harder to recognize someone guarding a ball screen perfectly than it is an alley-oop or a three-pointer, and I think that's been part of the disconnect with this team is it's just not the sexy brand of basketball that people are used to seeing in the NBA and seeing some teams play around college basketball at this point. So, I don't know. I think there's definitely an apathy that borders on frustration, and right now, probably going into March, it's just a sense of, another first weekend exit coming without Zakai.
Well, Mike, looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. We'll talk to you soon, and thanks for being with us, my friend.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Mike Wilson from the Knoxville News-Sentinel, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll continue the conversation on the Vols. What's at stake for Rick Barnes and this Tennessee basketball program over the next few weeks as March Madness begins? We'll get into all that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. These are carefully chosen timepieces in pristine condition. It's time to treat yourself for something great. And listen to this. With the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a beautiful pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings of the highest quality free. That's a $6,000 value. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers are on site, offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of our special financing and get a 2-carat lab-grown pair of diamond stud earrings of the highest quality valued at $6,000 absolutely free.
Pierce the Veil and The Used together in one night. Creative Control Tour, May 31st at Nashville Municipal Auditorium. With special guests, John Bracco and Death by Romy. Tickets on sale this Friday, 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Don't miss Pierce the Veil and The Used live.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Sarah wants a yard. My own little paradise. Brad, however, hates yard work.
The only thing I hate more than cutting the grass is paying someone to cut the grass.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle home and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Sarah and Brad found a great home with a yard. A very, very small yard.
Time to get it done. And I'm done.
Bundling without compromise at geico.com.
Hi.
Who's this?
Buzz. He appears whenever you eat Honey Nut Cheerios.
Like a genie?
Sure.
Ooh, does he grant wishes? I wish I lived in a giant boot. No, I wish I could swim with a humpback whale. No.
I can grant you a delicious bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, which can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
Ooh, with heart shapes, too.
Happy heart-shaped
AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in the zone. Hand the ball to Henry.
Small takes.
You have to defend your decision.
But all takes.
They win, they lose. Just invested a lot into this game. I thought it was the worst press conference.
He is Jared Stillman.
I guess I'm just not a very good coach, Jared.
Weekdays from 2 to 6, Stillman and Company. Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yuri, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Thanks to Mike Wilson for joining us in the last segment. SEC tournament getting underway today. Tennessee playing tomorrow at Bridgestone Arena. And, Joe, it's a very interesting time for Tennessee fans. I cannot find a single Tennessee fan that has any confidence whatsoever based on, number one, the Zakai Ziegler injury, and number two, some of the losses they've had down the stretch, that Tennessee's going to do anything in the NCAA tournament coming up here in a couple of weeks. With all that being said, there is still an SEC tournament to play. Seeding is on the line for the Vols this week. They do still have some talent without Zakai Ziegler out there, although the point guard position is SEC tourney this week, and as the NCAA tournament begins coming up here. What do you make of where this team is heading into tournament? It's a great question because, honestly, right now, if they made the Sweet 16, I would look at it as a success because I don't think they can get there without Zakai Ziegler. Now, if you'd have told me before, Ziegler's injury and, in the midpoint of the season that they were, having some of the best wins in the country, that it was the Sweet 16 and that was it, I think there'd been a lot of disappointment. My viewpoint has changed of what this team can be as they move forward.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, the Ziegler injury is a huge problem. And there's still going to be I think if they avoid the first game upset, then I think they're going to be a 3 in Greensboro, which means they had – no, wait a minute. Were they a 2 or a 3 last year?
I think a 2, right?
Were they a 2? So Michigan.
Yeah, they were a 2.
So Michigan was like the lower seed. Michigan upset, quote unquote, upset Colorado State. That's where one of those. Michigan was like loaded with talent last year, had a bad year, got in, and then it's like, oh god, yeah, they have a bunch of really good players, and so who knows who they'll get matched up with. They're still going to be, technically favored to get to the second weekend. But I do think that this week, first of all, is, they still have all this depth, so they could win 4 games in 4 days. I mean, they have enough players to do it. It's just you obviously don't have any
clarification. They were a 3 seed last year. It's my mistake. 3 seed, not a 2 seed.
Okay, so Michigan was an 11.
There you go.
Yeah, that makes sense because Michigan, I remember, was like one of the last teams kind of in,
Because the reason I looked that up is I think I remember people being mad about them not being a 2 seed, and it was. There's articles I can find about people being mad.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And if they were a 2, maybe they don't get. Maybe they advance. They had to play in the same building as, St. Peter's, doing wacky stuff. Sorry to bring that up, Michelle. But
just wait.
I
can't wait for the tournament this year so that can finally die. It'll never die.
We could add to it.
Yeah. Those moments live forever. Those moments live forever. But I feel like they still could be really good. I know it's almost like I'm blinded by some of what they do so well, and it's like, okay, but what about all the things that they consistently do badly? Like, for example, how about the fact that they always have a 5 or 6 minute, obviously the Rick Barnes tournament record and all that stuff. I still look at this team and say, if they can just not turn it over and pound the ball inside and get inside out shots, they are still the best defensive team in college basketball. That has to count for something.
I think a lot of it's going to come down to what we talked about with Mike, and that is, what is Julian Phillips as they move forward? Because, to his point, the USC game way back when, he looked really good, and he's been okay at times since then. I mean, it's important that they've got him back in there. We've seen what they look like without Josiah Jordan-James and without him in there at the same time, and now, of course, there's as they move forward. I don't know if they're going to get that. I think it's, at this point, tough to expect, but they need him to be at or near his A game more often than not as they move forward here in the tournament.
Yeah, the difference being Kennedy has the ball in his hands.
Correct.
And he was growing and growing last year, and you could see it coming, and he was tremendous in the SEC tournament, their first SEC tournament championship since 79, and you could see, and he really dominated the Michigan game, and then they decided, okay, everybody but him's going to beat us, and those guys couldn't hit a wide open shot. I mean, Kamwa is the guy who can stretch a defense, can draw big out of the lane because he can shoot from outside. He can drive. He can score at all 3 levels. And it really is it's like, oh, you forgot to box out or you didn't box out. And then Rick, sits him down. But he's way too talented, and this team badly needs offensive skill. If Kamwa is A-game Kamwa, I mean, look at some of their best games this year, he has gone off.
How about this question from Lance on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com? Who got hurt worse, Vandy losing Liam Robbins or Tennessee losing Ziegler?
That's a good question. And to me, it's the best player for both teams. It's hard when your best player is your point guard. Man, it's hard to top that. And then again, you're talking about a big going for about 22, 12, and 5 blocks every night. It's a great question. I mean, so far, basically what we've seen is that Vanderbilt has adjusted better.
Yep.
But both of them played actually great in the games that those guys, right? Vanderbilt wins the game in Kentucky, and then, Tennessee destroys a pretty good Arkansas team. That's a really good question. I think I'm going to say that Tennessee is hurt a little bit more just because the point guard, if you took Ezra Manjon, Filet Manjon.
Yes.
Best nickname ever.
That's the best nickname ever. If you took him off Vanderbilt, I don't know what. For example, I don't know how that would affect. I think that would be terrible for them. I almost might choose Robbins over him as a loss, which I know sounds crazy, but the point guard is the point guard.
Yeah. That's a great question, Lance.
But it is very close.
It is very close. 615-737-1025. We'll get more into the SEC tournament coming up a little bit later in the show. Willie Donick joining the program at 8:30. Looking forward to that debate between he and Joe Rexrode about what Vanderbilt's path to the NCAA tournament. Quote, shopped by the Tennessee Titans. We'll get into that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Most people picked them to make the playoffs before the season even started.
And your source for Nashville sports.
He can still wait for 5 more games before he makes that decision.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on. And Jules and Troy, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with high-quality supplies for every industry, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the one.
If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs, but the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more, and you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
Now, your Game Center update.
The SEC tournament kicks off today in Bridgestone Arena. Ole Miss, South Carolina will tip off at 6 p.m., followed by LSU, Georgia. Vanderbilt and Tennessee will each play the winner of these games. So far, halfway through this 6 game.
He's a goal scorer. He's a point producer. He's been that his whole career in junior hockey. The year before, he scored over 50 goals in London. He's got a little bit of a pedigree.
The Preds are back in action tomorrow in Arizona to face the Coyotes. Puck drop at 8 p.m. The Baltimore Ravens have placed Lamar Jackson on their non-exclusive franchise tag, and the Giants signed Daniel Jones to a 4-year, $160 million contract. I'm Michelle Knezvik for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne. Robby and Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Cranks it, he scores!
On both sides of the one big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This Sports Talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezvik here with you on this Wednesday morning. Looking forward to all that. And Joe, yesterday we spent a lot of the show talking about a report from Mike Silver that the Titans were, quote, having a conversation with somebody asking what the value would be with Derrick Henry. What exactly does that mean in terms of Derrick Henry's future with the Tennessee Titans? And then a report coming out yesterday after we were off the air, which everything comes out after we were off the air, so that continues to be a thing. But Jonathan's one of CBS Sports' lead NFL insiders says, quote, I know there's talk that the Titans are shopping running back Derrick Henry, but my sources tell me surprising, and cutting loose edge rusher Bud Dupree also makes sense. I don't believe the Titans see any tangible free agent upgrade at quarterback to Ryan Tannehill, and taking away the most essential part of the offense in Henry would indicate Tennessee is tanking more than anything. The Titans can very much contend in the AFC. Derrick Henry. So what does it all mean when you factor these two reports together? Because as we talked about yesterday, Joe, I mean, Mike Silver, pretty credible guy in the NFL. Jonathan Jones, pretty credible guy in the NFL. What does this all mean to you when you hear these quote-unquote conflicting reports?
Well, but there's a big difference in their jobs.
Yes.
Okay? So Mike Silver, I mean, he used to write for Sports Illustrated, really good feature writer. I cover the NFL. I talk to the GMs. I talk to the agents. I'm churning out these notebooks about NFL stuff every day. That's not what he does. So, yes, he has credibility, but to me, Jonathan Jones kind of checking on this and saying that it's not the case, it's a lot less fun for our show and all these shows. But I kind of had this thought yesterday, too. It's like, look, I'm sure someone Michael Silver talked to threw it out there like, I heard this or that. Again, assessing value, whatever it is. Jonathan Jones is much more actively involved in covering the league as a reporter than Michael Silver is. So my conclusion here is that it's not that different from what I thought yesterday. It's like, I don't think there's much to this.
Well, this kind of reminds me of a situation with Philip Forsberg a year ago, and Andy Strickland put it out there that the Predators were shopping Philip Forsberg, and we spent a whole day talking about that. And what does that mean?
Right.
And all this other stuff. When the word shopping is used, my first question is always, all right, well, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, what is your definition of shopping? Because, like we talked about with Forsberg a year ago, tell me what you'd give for him, but we're looking to trade him. That's shopping. So what is the definition of shopping? That's always my first question when reports of a player being shopped is coming out. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what's your definition of shopping?
That's a great point. It's almost like that word, to me, I think it probably gets misused. And it almost should be like, just like remove it and use different terms, because I think people use it. If you use it, it should mean we want to trade this guy. What will you give him for us?
Right.
We are trading him. So here you go. Shop around. It's like, you have a garage sale. It's like, please, here, buy
if you have any questions.
Buy my bong from college, $2.
And your incense.
Yeah, there you go. And lava lamp.
Yes, all of it.
But I think in a lot of cases it's not really shopping. It's actually, right? It's actually like, hey, what would you think?
Yeah.
If you're inquiring or, again, assessing value, just having a conversation, that should not rise to the level of the verb shopping.
No, like if that was the case, then think about how many people would be quote-unquote shopped out there. Like we talked about this yesterday, players is. I mean, you never know when a situation comes up that you've got to make a deal. So, like, knowing what the base value is for your assets on your team is part of your job. But that, to me, is not the same thing as shopping a player around. Like, that's really the one thing that stands out to me in all this is, all right, well, what does shopping mean? Because I would be surprised, like you, and we talked about this yesterday, if the Titans were like, yep, all right, Derrick Henry, we're trading him. Give me your best offer, and we'll go to the highest bidder. Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Now, if in the process of determining his value, you find out that maybe it's a little higher than you thought, and you could get some good return, good draft capital back for him, then maybe you consider it at that point. But that, to me, is not the same thing as shopping, and I think that's where a lot of these stories that come out, whether it's in football, whether it's in hockey, whatever sport it is, a lot of this gets conflated to me.
Right, and if there's any mention at all, if there's any conversation at all, and then that gets relayed to someone in media, and it'll get out one way or the other, and that's kind of up to interpretation. And I think in a lot of cases, like if you look at how Michael Silver presented it, it was just like kind of a throw-in. It's like, oh, by the way, I heard this name. It's not like, it's not like he's he had some standalone report about Derrick Henry. And hearing about this, okay, let me go to Kaharski's
I've got the tweet pulled up. It says, maybe semantics at play here, but if Mike Silver had multiple GMs telling him Titans were shopping Derrick Henry at the Combine, they were at minimum testing the market. Refuting that likely amounts to asking the team if it's true and getting what should be an expected denial. That's what PK said on Twitter.
Yeah. I guess we look at it differently. Maybe we can have an argument about constantly covering the NFL, right? I mean, he's a CBS Sports NFL, so he's competing on a daily basis with Schefter, Rappaport. I mean, not necessarily as a volume here. Oh, an agent just called me. Here, you can put this scoop out now, Adam. Oh, I'm sorry, I gave this one to Ian. Sorry, Adam. But, he's in that realm of breaking news, reporting on the league, with Peter King or Charles, whoever you want to throw in there. Michael Silver, I mean, he's a columnist for the San Francisco Chronicle, which means you write about all kinds of different things. Right. And he writes about the Golden State Warriors and whatever, That's just such a different job. That doesn't mean, he's been around a long time, so it doesn't mean he doesn't have good sources in the league and stuff like that. So it's an interesting, when I saw Jones do it, I'm like, okay, see, this is more, and yes, I'm sure that it's not like he went to the Saints and said, hey, you think the Titans are shopping Derrick Henry? I mean, I'm sure he went to, Titan sources with that.
With Jim Irsay. Jim, what do you think? Titans shopping Derrick Henry?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They are. Yes. Put it out there. Thank you for bringing Jim Irsay into this.
I always try.
Now I need to go back and see exactly. I forget exactly how Silver phrased it. Did he say multiple GMs told him that? Did he actually say that? You have it in front of the whole thing? I want to read the whole. We need to play semantics and parsing words.
Let me find that real quickly.
I mean, we just talked about it yesterday, but again,
he's tweeted a lot in the span of a day, so good for him, I guess.
He does tweet a lot, and there's okay, let's see. Well, he's retweeting Kaharski tweets, so I don't know. Is this a Kaharski? Is this actually collusion between Mike Silver and Paul Kaharski? Is that what we figured out?
And now my page is unresponsive. That's good stuff.
They've both been around a couple years.
Well, regardless, like the Derrick Henry part of this, and it was interesting because I heard I can't remember if it was on Chase and Michelle or if it was on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace yesterday. It may have been both. Playing comments from Bussin' with the Boy. NFL, that's considered old for a running back. Who knows? They could want to move off of me this offseason. Like, this has at least been something that has entered the mind of Derrick Henry based on comments that he had on Bussin' with the Boys earlier this offseason.
Okay, Michelle sent this. I'll read it again. So this is – okay, but here's another question before I read it. So this is from – okay, so he's writing for Bally too.
Yeah.
He has multiple jobs. I can relate. Okay, quote, keep an eye on this. If the divide continues – Okay, I'll just read the actual Derrick Henry. Quote, according to my sources, all of them current general managers. Tennessee Titans would have made Derrick Henry, Jalen Ramsey, DeAndre Hopkins are among the players who have been shopped in recent days. And that was before – that's the second part of a paragraph about trade talk being rampant at the Combine. And who is the 26-year-old quarterback he's talking about, by the way?
Lamar.
Okay, so he's talking about Lamar. Then he says, by the way, trade talk was rampant, and according to my sources, all of them current general managers.
Multiple.
So he does say he mentions those players, and of course, the funny thing is, Ramsey and Hopkins. I think that's pretty that's been out there, right? Yeah. So Henry is sort of the one in there, like, interesting. Here's the thing, so if there's really an active. If there's really an active attempt to trade Derrick Henry, which then I think is a real possibility that there's nothing from Jonathan Jones or anyone else yesterday. So PK is right. I think that if there was an active shopping situation, and I think maybe you just wouldn't have anything. You know what I mean? Like if Jonathan Jones has someone here saying no, that's not it. Why do that if it is it?
If it comes out 3 days later, they've traded Derrick Henry. No, man, it's not it.
Yeah, again, that's just on Jonathan Jones, and that's the problem. With anonymous sourcing, the credit. Ultimately, it's on him for saying there's nothing, and then something happens. Well, what are you talking about, man?
Right.
But there's still reporters and their sources. There's also a certain level of trust that you have to count on. Like, you're not going to just lie to me, right? Because I'm not naming you.
Right.
I think it all adds up to there's nothing that's going to happen with Derrick Henry. But again, I appreciate 2 days now that we can talk about this.
615-737-1025. What do you make of the conflicting reports of Derrick Henry being shopped by the Titans? We'll continue that discussion coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Come on. Join Robby and Rexrode for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility, choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota. Like Corolla Cross, the first ever Corolla SUV, or the best-selling Toyota Camry, now available with all-wheel drive. And you can get 3.99 APR financing on a new 23 Camry, now through April 4th. With approved credit through TFS, excludes TRD and hybrids. And every new Toyota comes with 2 years no-cost maintenance. Get complete details at buyatoyota.com.
Rex timepiece is here at Genesis Diamonds. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. These are carefully chosen timepieces in pristine condition. It's time to treat yourself for something great. And listen to this. With the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a beautiful pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings of the highest quality free. That's a $6,000 value. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers are on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of our special financing and get a 2-carat lab-grown pair of diamond stud earrings of the highest quality valued at $6,000 absolutely free. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday only.
Is Seafood Sensation, often imitated but never duplicated. Seafood Sensation is Nashville's original seafood restaurant. Right now you can get half off a $25 gift card to their new location in Antioch at thegamenashville.com/deals and enjoy some of your favorite seafood dishes like their crab legs platter, grilled salmon, and more. That's Seafood Sensation, new location in Antioch at 2209 Murfreesboro Pike. Get half off a $25 gift card while they last at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Kid Rock. Sipping whiskey out the bottle. The American Badass. Singing Sweet Home Alabama. Kid Rock. Because I want to be a cowboy. With Travis Tritt. Devil without a cause. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at livenation.com.
And people love sports. If you love sports, you should know this. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. Does saving have anything to do with sports? No, but people love sports, so I'm yelling sports out. Hockey, swimming, golf. Not all sports have the word ball in there, so save big when you switch to Progressive. Go sports teams!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
On Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Play hooky and join 1025 The Game at Jasper's, located at 1918 West End Avenue, Thursday, March 16th for the first day of tournament games. While you're there, take advantage of the Shot and a Beer special. That's a shot of Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey plus a bottled domestic beer for just $10. Jasper's, they've got an oversized bar, TVs, a game room that makes them the place to be to catch all of the games. Make sure you check that out. Coming up next Thursday, March 16th. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 1025 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and join the show and yell at Joe Rexrode.
Yell at me.
So anytime Willie wants to yell at Joe, we will make that happen. That's coming up at 8:30. Choice is yours with Michelle Knezovic in the questions chair, coming up at 7:30. So looking forward to that. Right now, talking Titans, taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Drew on the text line says, I don't give a damn about him being 29 years old, referring to Derrick Henry. He's built different and has 5 to 7 years of great football left in him. He's a guy you ride behind as long as he's throwing people out of the stadium with that stiff arm. You don't trade players like him or AJ you-know-who, ever. This is from Drew on the text line.
5 to 7?
I don't know if I can buy 5 to 7 with Derrick Henry. That's a long time.
Toward the Titans, and like probably based on very little reason for there to be anger, other than really what they should do is find out about value of certain players. You know,
Ryan, I swear if the first move you make is
see about the multiple GM thing with Silver. So again, you're listing several players in one paragraph, which is a tack on to you're writing about Lamar Jackson. So multiple GMs, one could be talking about each of those guys, and it could be multiple GMs. See the level to which I'm going with the parsing here? You know what I mean? Like he didn't explicitly say multiple GMs said this about each of these players, right?
Right.
So I think what happened here is probably some kind of a conversation about, what would he fetch? I mean, I would ask the question. I'd like to know if I'm a new GM of a team, or even if I'm not a new GM of a team, if I'm a GM of a team every offseason, looking at my options of my better players, what's the market value? So then that gets thrown out in this. And then Jonathan Jones asked someone here, and they say, no, we're not shopping Derrick Henry.
Right.
And that's pretty much the end of it. But, Drew and people, I get it. If you even hear the suggestion of this, you get upset about it.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in George. George, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. I just wanted to say pretty much what Joe just said. We have a UGM. In my opinion, this is just proof that he's doing his job. He's trying to build a championship team, and he needs to know the value of everyone on that team to do his job properly. And I just want to applaud Rand for doing this, because everyone is expendable. We all know that. And we all love Derrick Henry, and none of us as fans want him to be anywhere else. But that's my take on it.
Hey, thanks for the call, George. I mean, look, I agree. I mean, I think it has an idea in their head about what exactly the value looks like for Roman Josi. Now, Roman Yoshi's got a no-movement clause and a full no-trade clause. It never hurts to know what your players are worth. Now, if it's more than that, and Rand Carthon is actively looking to trade Derrick Henry, then that's a different conversation. But there's no indication that that's the case to this point.
Come get your Derrick Henry, everybody. All right, here we go. Just doing an auction at like the BOGO. I'll throw in Antrell Hilliard too. No, he's a free agent. Look, if you just think about trading Derrick Henry, and this is where also I think when people get upset about it, I think there's an impulse to be upset about the idea, which I understand, but also to think that there's more coming back for him, so it would be a more viable thing. I don't.
Dennis,
I don't see a lot coming back.
Dennis on the text line says, every time a house sells in my neighborhood, I check the estimated value of my home. Am I actively looking to sell my house? Nope. This is from Dennis on the text line. Again,
real world examples from Dennis.
We're going to really downplay this, and then 2 days from now, 2 hours from now, Derrick Henry gets sent.
They're not going to trade for who? Get out of here. No. I'm not saying 100% this is not happening, but I think that this is a conversation that gets thrown into a paragraph, and it becomes that. This is what happens, though. Back in the day, if Michael Silver wrote this in the pages of the San Francisco Chronicle, we wouldn't even know. You'd have to look at it up on microfiche in your library years later. So,
oh man, you're old. Got a text.
Yes, thank you.
We need to decide as a fan base: do we want a championship team, or do we want players that retire here? Like, come on, what do we play for? This is from a texter on the text line.
Well, I agree.
I understand that. Served in their career here. It's like, well, okay.
Never.
I mean, how often does that really happen?
That's a loser mentality.
It doesn't happen very often. Now, having said that, again, what is the value for Derrick Henry? Like, is trading Derrick Henry and getting back a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick, like, is that going to be the difference in whether or not you're playing for a championship in a couple of years? Probably not.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, the idea of, in general, getting ahead of – and John Robinson was pretty good at this, by the way. I mean, I remember when he traded Jarrell Casey. I'm like, what are you doing? You got Jarrell Casey and Jeff Simmons in his second year. That's a monster combo. Well, turned out that he timed that pretty well. It's so important in this league to be a year ahead instead of a year late on things like that. So, yeah, it's just how it goes. There's a sentimental value. You always have the time with Derrick Henry. I think you're going to have this year with Derrick Henry, and I think he could have another really good year. He doesn't have 5 to 7 years left.
He does not.
And look, Derrick Henry's past his prime. Can we all agree on this? I mean, this may be a sentence that people scream about, but he's past his prime. His prime was he could go 80 yards on you any point, and also he's this size, and he's averaging 5.5 a carry and getting 2,000 yards.
Not on a consistent basis. I mean, he didn't have one last year. Now, he broke some big runs last year. And
he got caught.
He
used to not get caught.
So what does that mean as you move forward? Like, is that going to get better as he turns 30? Probably not. Just my guess.
Like, he's going to we will see outrageous workouts this
he's still really good.
Yeah, and he'll continue to be able to take the beating. I mean, what he does, so much of it is to be able to be durable enough to take the beating. It's incredible what he's done. But, yeah, he's he is on the other side, as any human doing what he's done would be, even if he's almost partially superhuman.
LD from McMinnville says, would the Titans have any interest in Jalen Ramsey? This is from LD from McMinnville. What do you think of that? Obviously, there's the connection of Jalen Ramsey being from here. But
CB1 in this league. Is he still CB1 in this league? And then there's the number 2. It's amazing how quickly market value shifts on players in this league, you know? Because I would say not long ago, I would have said, yeah.
I mean, he's 28.
Yeah, it's not like he's not ancient or anything.
Yeah.
But you got to really be sure when you – that's why, like, with Jeffrey Simmons and his age and where he is, yes, you pay that. But are you paying 28-year-old Jalen? Could shift to Caleb Farley. Congratulations.
Just first round pick.
Here goes the text line.
Going up next, it's time for The Choice is Yours. We'll take your thoughts, your submissions, as always, on our text line, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025.
You obviously have to look at.
He's always talking about what's next for the Tennessee Titans.
Quarterback is a really important thing that they have to get determined.
Check out TD, Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, and Friday mornings at 8:30. Plus, the Talkin' with TD podcast.
Looking forward to that.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, March 8th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic, including from Gamebridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday, 615-576-5000.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new arrivals from TaylorMade, featuring the Stealth 2 Woods and Irons. The new Stealth 2 Woods combines speed and forgiveness to unlock forgiveness, and the new Stealth HD Irons deliver high launch with draw bias to give you the confidence to expect better shots more often. Swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, unmatched expertise, unmatched service.
You look at yourself in the mirror every day and you can't deny it anymore. Your hair is not as thick as it used to be, and it's making you feel self-conscious. Hair Club is here to save the day. For 45 years, Hair Club has helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair and feel confident again. No matter what stage of hair loss, they can help. Hair Club can customize a solution just for you. For a limited time, get 10%.
In fact, 94% of women executives were student athletes. Play Like a Girl is creating a more equal playing field for the next generation of women in leadership. You can help too. Become a mentor, donor, or volunteer. Learn more at iplaylikeagirl.org/mentor.
Pierce the veil and the used together in one night. Creative Control Tour, May 31st at Nashville Municipal Auditorium with special guests John Bracco and Death by Romo. Tickets on sale this Friday, 10 a.m. at Live Nation.
The game live from the Rusty Nail in Hermitage on Friday, March 17th.
And the three is good.
Taking the first round of games during a St. Patrick's Day celebration. Enjoy $3 two-lane beer drafts all month long during the tournament.
Yes! What a shot!
Plus a great local atmosphere with a big back patio and volleyball courts. There's also great drinks and great food, especially the wings. That's Friday, March 17th at the Rusty Nail in Hermitage. Doors open at 10.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
We all have choices to make. Like right now. It's The Choice Is Yours, built by Jared Companies. You have a choice, so JaredCompaniesInc.com. The choice is yours, now on Robby and Rexrode.
And it is that time of the week, time for The Choice Is Yours here on Robby and Rexrode. A bit of an adjustment this week. Usually at 8:30, today at 7:30, because we're making time for Willie Donick to yell at Joe Rexrode later. So I'm looking forward to that. The Choice Is Yours, brought to you by Jared Companies, your one-stop shop for site and utility work, fire protection, paving, and concrete. Over to you.
Well, in honor of the SEC tournament starting today and Willie Donick bumping our segment, this will be a college basketball Choice Is Yours.
Ooh.
So
yes.
what do we want to start with, guys? Sports or non-sports?
Non-sports, because I'm excited that non-sports is college basketball too.
Yes, it is. Okay, so this is going to be an easy one. Non-sports. What is your all-time favorite college basketball? It doesn't matter whether the home jerseys, whether they're away jerseys. They never try to do anything funky with it and change up the colors. It's North Carolina blue, which I know I'm a Kentucky fan. I shouldn't like other blue bloods, but the baby blue I just think looks so perfect, especially on their home court. It goes with the hardwood and everything. It's got the Jordan logo. They're just so unique, but also so traditional. Those are my all-time favorite college basketball uniforms.
Okay.
So I'm with you. I mean, that's what immediately came to mind. I would actually go 1A, 1B, though, and I'd go UCLA too. In both cases, that classic like light blue, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I know North Carolina is baby blue. I don't know what UCLA's official blue is, but those blue on both of them, and with UCLA with also like the gold with it, I love that too. I might actually just go there. That's another kind of like blue blood, but like former blue blood, you know, but overall historical blue blood. Yeah, I think those two are the easy top two for me.
2003 Marquette jerseys, just because D-Wade looked great in them. Love me some D-Wade.
Okay.
Some Golden Eagles.
Well, I'm going to have to go back and look at that. Tom Crean, baby.
I've been in the Bradleys.
I just looked them up, yeah.
Those I like that style for them. I don't even know what they're wearing now.
I couldn't tell you what Marquette's wearing
Bradley
now.
Center doesn't exist anymore? Is it a different place where they play?
The ads?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in Milwaukee Panther Arena, like down the street. It's all on the same street.
Okay, because I covered MTSU at that place. I guess when would that? I guess that's 6 years.
Was that
ago.
the Michigan? Yeah, wow.
No, the Michigan State game was in St. Louis. The next year they got in the tournament again.
Switching to sports from now on, so their careers starting today. Who is more likely to win a national championship, Rick Barnes or Jerry Stackhouse?
I like it. Ooh. I will answer.
It doesn't have to,
doesn't have to be where they currently are.
Yeah, so, I mean, Rick Barnes will probably stay with Tennessee, but Jerry, he's still young.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jerry Stackhouse. I'm gonna answer that quickly. And that basically, to me, is because there's a lot more years ahead. Now, look, I think that Jerry Stackhouse also could be an NBA head coach here down the road if he wants to be. I think what he does as a coach is going to be appealing to NBA front office people. But also, I do think he loves his job. I think he's kind of demonstrated that too. So that's the only hesitation I have is Stackhouse's long-term going to be like 20 years as an NBA head coach, and then obviously take him out. But other than that, between just he's been a really good college basketball coach for 40 years, and he's been to one Final Four. And he's 25 and 26 in the NCAA tournament. So all of that together, it's a quick answer for me.
I'm going Barnes. I think.
Boom.
Well, look, I do think at some point, number one, Jerry Stackhouse has done a great job this year at Vanderbilt. He's not winning the national title at Vanderbilt. I think at some point he's going to the NBA. So that's part of my answer here.
But he could go. He could also go to.
He could go to another college and then go to the NBA.
He could go to, by the way,
North Carolina.
He could if the timing worked out.
He could. Yeah. And that he definitely have a chance there. But I'm going Barnes just because, right now they get hot at the right time with the talent they have. There's a chance there that he could do it. So I'll go Barnes.
So this one was tough for me, but a lot of the same reasons you guys kind of laid out. Rick Barnes has had the teams and he's shown that he can get the players to Tennessee that have the talent to win a national championship. But like Robby said, if they can get hot in March, there's always a question. But Rick Barnes' record in March is not strong. He's just under 500. And I look at Jerry Stackhouse, and actually, Joe, you brought up the UNC thing. I actually think this year has been really, really, I mean, he won SEC Coach of the Year. He's up for some National Coach of the Year. He's finalist for a couple of those awards. And I look at what Liam Robbins does, even in just the small time he's been on the court and his ability to develop these players. I don't think it'll be at Vanderbilt, but I do think Jerry Stackhouse will win one as a college coach. Maybe UNC, who knows? But I do think he'll get another big-time coaching job. Okay, switching back.
That's a great question.
Yeah, switching back to non-sports. This is a fun one. Your 102.5 The Game starting five.
Okay, so this is on-air talent or everybody included?
It can be on-air talent. It can be producers, people in the sales. So you guys can think for a second.
Okay.
Starting at point guard, because I think he's probably has the best ball handling skills, is going to be the one and only Joe Rexrode.
Yes.
My two.
Put me at the one.
My two. An still athletic, shifty is going to be Ryan Burke. Dun, 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 dun.
Ryan from Chicago.
My four is going to be, who's coming up later in the show, Willie Donick, the Rocket, they called him at Vanderbilt. And my five, Cave to do.
Oh, no.
Is stand there, arms up, and take it.
Oh, no.
He is not allowed to move. We don't, listen, I want him just to stand there on defense. We don't need him on offense because of our team.
Oh,
I want Chase to stand there on defense, arms up.
Have you watched Chase do anything athletically?
I will say if Elijah Campbell was still here at the station, he'd be my five.
Oh,
okay, one of you two next.
That's a great point. All right, well, real quick, for the three of us here on my starting team. I mean, come on. So so right here, I'll go D Mace at the 3, and I'll go Donick at the 5.
There you go. That's good.
There you go.
So I mean, look,
and sorry, Ryan from Chicago could be our 6.
I'll go D Mace. Like I want to put Jared in my starting 5. I really do because I want to see it. I'm doing it. I'm leaving Willie out. Willie can be the 6th man. Jared's my 5. So I want to see it.
So my team destroys both of your teams.
I'm not
great.
She asked me what my starting 5 would be.
What a sack race that would be.
Okay, guys, switching out to sports. Our last question: what is one college basketball coach you would never want to see win the national championship because then to win one? We're not saying him. So I will go first for this one to give you guys a minute to think.
Okay.
Bruce Pearl. He gives me major PTSD moments from 2019, my senior year. Kentucky was either Sweets tournament one year, and the guy is just off the rocker, and he grinds my gears. He does. He's loud. He's vocal. I mean, we played his off.
Okay. No, he's won one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, like, again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to stay in the same state. I mean, I'll just do the obvious, and I'll go Nate Oates. I mean, this play is awful, and he is a very, you look at those two guys at those rivals. Talk about like hard to like coaches who are rivals.
I mean, Bruce Pearl's pretty easy to like. All I got to do just start yelling smash and joke, and I like him all the way.
He's entertaining as hell. There's no doubt about that.
And if he's your coach, I would love him if I was an Arkansas fan.
Yeah,
an Auburn fan.
There's another guy, by the way. Boy, this league has some buttes. Let me tell you something.
I mean, do we really have to ask what my answer is?
I understand, like, a lot of people don't like Calipari, but he bothers you more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've come over the years to kind of.
That's really more than anything else.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like it.
If Nate Oates wins one, like if Nate Oates or Eric Musselman were to win one, they rip their shirt off and start slapping innocent bystanders.
Yes. When Eric Musselman won the game last year, and he just has his shirt off and his arms sling, and he's just running around with the students.
It's interesting stuff.
Yeah,
interesting stuff. This has been The Choice Is Yours. You can check it out. Go ahead.
So I'm just saying, Tennessee fans. I mean, when it comes to like different ways of judging coaches, you do get
the likability.
You do have it pretty
Rick Barnes
well.
is such a great guy.
Yeah.
Some people think he's too good.
Some people don't give a crap, but I'm just saying.
People think he's too good a guy. Ah, there you go, shaking hands after the game.
Too nice, soft players.
Hey, Rick, would you please use some F-bombs? Ever?
Coming up next, it's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Your home for NCSU basketball is 94.9 The Fan.
Three ball, yes sir! Electronic Express tax refund sale is extended. Get up to 50% off doorbusters and 40% off in every department, including 4K TVs, computers, gaming consoles, Bluetooth speakers, smartwatches, and more. Refresh your kitchen with appliances in stock and ready to deliver. And buy now, pay later with up to 3 years free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is here at Genesis Diamonds. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. These are carefully chosen timepieces in pristine condition. It's time to treat yourself for something great. And listen to this. With the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a beautiful pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings of the highest quality free. That's a $6,000 value. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers are on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of our special financing and get a 2-carat lab-grown pair of diamond stud earrings of the highest quality valued at $6,000 absolutely free. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Spring. While supplies last, see store for details.
The basketball and hockey seasons are heating up. Baseball is just around the corner, and nothing beats seeing your favorite team live. Not only does Vivid Seats have great ticket prices, they're also the official ticketing partner of ESPN. And with Vivid Seats rewards, when you buy 10 tickets, you get the 11th free. Download the app or visit vividseats.com today. Vivid Seats. Life happens live. Receive a reward credit equal to the average price of the 10 tickets purchased, excluding taxes, fees, and processing costs. See vividseats.com/rewards for terms and conditions. Union Pacific Railroad wants you to join its team. It's an opportunity that comes with great pay and benefits. There are a variety of open roles across its 23-state network, including train crew positions, with hiring and relocation incentives of up to $50,000 in some locations. You can even get a free college education while working. Union Pacific Railroad connects hundreds of communities, hauling goods Americans rely on every day. Get your career on the right track with Union Pacific and apply today at up.jobs/sports. That's up.jobs/sports.
Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Everybody's listening.
Weekdays from 9 to 11. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant.
Full song.
And it is that time of the day, time for the Rex Rant here on Robby and Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45, either the Rex Rant, the Rob Rant, the Red Rant. Who knows what's coming down the pike on a daily basis. Joe Rexrode, you're on the clock today. I turn things over to you.
It's like Michelle reads my mind. Not that I ever want to.
Oh,
interesting.
I did read your mind.
A little, yeah. How about that? So, I don't know if you guys saw this. This is from my athletic coworker, Peter Baugh, who, by the way, is probably like the nicest kid
human
in
being on
sports media.
Yes.
Yeah, you're too nice, Peter. Speaking of someone who needs to use F-bombs.
Peter, you and Rick Barnes need to get out there and start yelling at people.
Nate Oates yells F Colorado, and Mikko Rantanen is in the penalty box. You see this?
Yeah.
And these Dallas fans are all over him. Oh, yeah, whatever. What's
the ring?
The ring. Yeah. Like, hey, yeah, look at the ring there. And then the fans are laughing. Like, if you look at the video, which Peter, he retweeted BR Open Ice on this.
Yeah.
It's the cam from the penalty box, and the fans are like, oh, that's great. That's a great back and forth. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Personality. You're a human. You're not an AI robot. I just keep to myself and play for the hockey. And no, like, show some personality. Talk a little trash. So Peter this is Rantanen's comment from that. Said his ring gesture, quote, was unnecessary.
Yeah.
He said he was very frustrated that night. Quote, maybe I have to learn to keep my cool. Some guys are very good at it. I'm not very good at it. You turned around and showed your ring to them. It's funny. This said about it, but it totally encapsulates my issue with hockey. It's okay to have personality and single yourself out at times and have fun and getting a little back and forth. You don't have to apologize for everything. Like, compare this to everything else in sports.
It's
absurd.
It's not like he gave the fans like the double bird or anything like that. He showed him the ring finger.
I mean, I'd be in favor of that too, but that one, I get it. Like, okay, fine. You should apologize for that. There's probably kids behind you, right? Okay, fine.
No, I agree. Look, hockey is my first love. It is why I'm sitting in this chair today. I love hockey. It's my favorite sport. But I am so with you here. Like, that's happened. And there were some things that went along with it that I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of. But at least the guy had some personality. Like, I always tried to remember that it's good for the game when he's got personality. And look, there's the old school way of thought that, well, hockey's like they're the ultimate team guys and they don't want to put anything in front of the team and they don't want to make anything about themselves. And sure, I mean, all that's well and good. But, like, I talked about this, I think it was last week on Twitter, and some Edmonton fans got really mad at me. It was times, and it's given to, like, Canadian hockey players at different times throughout whatever. And the look, like, it's just so much pain.
It's like that J.J. Watt mugshot.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? It's like, and that's the face of the league. And I love Connor McDavid. I've said this before. I think he is the best player in the world at his sport. You can talk about Patrick Mahomes. You can talk about LeBron James. I don't care who you talk about. I think right now, Connor McDavid is the best player in the world at his sport in the entire planet. But, oh, my gosh, the guy has no personality. It's like talking to a wood door. Like, it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, like, that's even another step. This is like, don't apologize for actually having some fun little banter with opposing fans. This is like, dude, can you, like, have a fake smile for 5 seconds when you go to center ice?
It's unbelievable. Do well. And I think part of that has to be they have to do a much better job of marketing themselves. Like, I think a lot of fans, they love watching these guys in NHL locker rooms for over a decade. And I can tell you, like, when the camera's off, there's a lot of really fun people in the game. A lot of really cool people. Like, Shea Weber, to me, like, he was awesome. Like, he turned that camera off. He's, like, the most down-to-earth guy. He's got a great personality. Camera comes on, it's completely different. And I get it to some degree. Like,
blah, blah, blah.
Look, there are people out there that sometimes take advantage of that. I understand that, but open things up a little bit. The game needs way more personality than they've got right now.
This is why, like, when Brad Marchand licks someone's face, good. That's what that's what we need. I mean, how many of, like, the great NBA, playoff, I mean, my memory as a sports fan, but just in sports, it is fun. It should be.
It should be fun, and, like, I don't really need to see you apologizing for talking trash. Like, live a little.
Like, I need to know, like, and I think I'm going to ask Peter this. Like, did someone, like, in the organization say, well, Miko, I don't know. And you got him. Zing. The fan laughed, too, and then he had a sip of his beer, and everybody went home.
Yeah.
And, it's so frustrating.
Like, there's a lot of exciting players in the game, and I think the game itself is in as good of a spot as it's ever been in. I really do. Like, I think it's fun to watch. There's a ton of skill in the game today, and that's the most important thing you got to have. But one thing that would help going along with it is just a little bit more personality in the game. I think you've hit on something here.
Nate says it's okay to have brawls in hockey with no apology, but you have a personality when you do. You apologize for showing your ring.
615-737-1037 1025. This has been the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com. We'll get his thoughts on everything relating to the Tennessee Titans with free agency coming up next week in the National Football League. That's coming up next. Nashville's best deal of the week is from seafood sensation, often imitated but never duplicated. It's Nashville's original seafood restaurant. While supplies last, grab off a $25 gift card to the seafood sensation located at 2209 Murfreesboro Pike in Antioch, and enjoy some of your favorite seafood dishes like their crab legs platter, grilled salmon, and more. You can check those out at thegamenashville.com/deals. The gift card only good for their Antioch location. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3.
Nashville Sports.
Yes, you want to have a fire sale, but who's going to buy those players?
We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Predators were trailing the Vancouver Canucks in the third period 3-1, needing to get at least a point out of that game. Well, Evangelista got his first career NHL goal, and then later on in the period, he tipped in a rebound of a shot from Tyson Barrie to tie the game at 3. The Canucks would go on to win the game in a shootout 4-3, so the Predators still came away with 1 point. They traveled yesterday afternoon to Arizona, found their hotel in the middle of the afternoon. Later on today, they will be busing for practice in Tempe, Arizona, and prepare to play the Arizona Coyotes for the second time in a couple of weeks, coming up tomorrow night. Pre-game show on Thursday will come your way at 7, the game at 8 o'clock. This is Pete Weber on the Fifth Third Bank, Nashville Predators Radio Network.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Game.
Hey, Heather, when we ran into you and Mark the other day, you guys looked so happy.
Thanks, Tiffany. We are.
Well, I hate to say it, but Jim and I aren't doing very well lately.
Oh, what's going on?
Well, Jim's always tired. He never wants to do anything. When we try being intimate, he doesn't seem to be into it, at all. I wonder if he's even attracted to me anymore.
Oh my gosh, we had the same problem. I thought Mark was having an affair. Then we went to the Tennessee Men's Clinic and learned he just had a medical condition. The Tennessee Men's Clinic specializes in low testosterone and
it's just what Jim needs. How does he get in contact?
It's easy. You can book appointments online or just give them a call.
Your first visit to the Tennessee Men's Clinic is only $99. They have multiple treatment options for low T and ED. Book your appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or book online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Your Game Center update.
The SEC tournament kicks off today in Bridgestone Arena. Ole Miss, South Carolina will tip off at 6 p.m., followed by LSU, Georgia. Vanderbilt and Tennessee will each play the winner of these games. So far, halfway through this 6-game road trip, Luke Evangelista has recorded 3 points, and David Poyle joined Robby and Rexrode on Tuesday and spoke about his...
The year before, he scored over 50 goals in London. He's got a little bit of a pedigree.
The Preds are back in action tomorrow in Arizona to face the Coyotes. Puck drop at 8 p.m. The Baltimore Ravens have placed Lamar Jackson on their non-exclusive franchise tag. The Giants signed Daniel Jones.
102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
1, 2, 3. I think it was a good game. Had a couple of big plays.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.25 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our friend Paul Kuharsky from PaulKuharsky.com. PK, good morning. How you doing?
Well, good morning, guys. I'm great. How are you?
We're great. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. PK, some conflicting reports, if that's what you want to call them, out there on the Derrick Henry situation. Mike Silver reporting that the Titans are shopping Derrick Henry, and he also included Jalen Ramsey and DeAndre Hopkins in that report. And then Jonathan Jones from CBS yesterday said, according to his sources, that is not the case. What do you make of those two reports and Derrick Henry and what it all means from your vantage point as you view what Rand Carthon and the Titans may decide to do with Derrick Henry this offseason?
Yeah, this isn't complete. He's an excellent reporter. If he talked to GMs and they said that the Titans are in some way, shape, or form shopping, this is a semantics argument, shopping Derrick Henry, they absolutely, inquired the GMs that Mike Silver went to, unnamed, and said, was Mike Silver making this up? I mean, you can't – I don't know, Jonathan, but you can't undo Mike Silver's reporting-wise. I mean, he talked to GMs who said the Titans were, maybe shopping is too strong a word for Jonathan, but in some way, shape, or form, the Titans were dipping their toe in the water about Derrick Henry. Unquestionably, I know Mike Silver. Mike Silver's a long-time reputable reporter, and he knows people around the league. The Combine is like his kind of event. He'll be out until 4 o'clock in the morning talking to people, drinking with them. So to come back and say, no, they're not, that's almost like, when a reporter says that the Titans have signed such and such a free agent, and somebody comes back and says, no, they haven't yet. The paperwork's not done, when it's just the way everybody's talking about it. To say they're conflicting reports and they may have shopped them or they may not have shopped them, to me, is ridiculous. They clearly, quote-unquote, shopped them. You can put in whatever word you want there. But to say that they didn't, the only refuting of this you could get.
I hear everything you're saying. First of all, I think we could all agree. I think shopping, to me, is inquiring about value should the verb shopping should not be applied to that, in my opinion. Right?
But it's just semantics.
Well, okay. But, I mean, words matter, Paul. Words matter. Now, GMs, he mentioned several players. I mean, I read that, and that could be like one GM mentioned something about Derrick. And still, even if that's the case, fine. I'm with you. What's that?
It's at least two.
Well, except, it's semantics again. But if you read everything, he's writing about Lamar Jackson, he mentions all these players, he mentions multiple GMs. That could be multiple GMs talked about different people, and it could be, to me, when I read it, one mentions Derrick. Now, still, it doesn't change your point. It's not pulled out of thin air. He's a reputable, long-time reporter who's covered this league. So I'm with you on that. Jonathan Jones is more of his job is strictly reporting on the NFL, right? So I agree with you. What he did was he goes to the Titans and asks, and they said, no, we're not shopping him. But also, if he quote shopping him, then why refute that? You know what I mean?
Well, they're trying to manage fan expectations. To a PR game. That's not a news of what's happening game. I mean, the only way to refute it is to go to all 32 GMs and say,
yeah, right. No, I agree. Now, let me ask you this though: do you actually think that the Titans are? Because I don't think you're going to get much for him. I don't think many teams actually are going to be looking to add that to their cap or where he is in his career. And I just feel like I read this as, so what would we get? Conversation, few drinks in, right?
Yeah.
Do you disagree?
He's impossible. I think it only takes one, right? That's why you check on it and everything. But you'd be adding a guy who's approaching 30, who needs 20 carries, so you got to change your offense for him. You're only getting 1 year of him. And he costs you $10 million. Who's looking for – and he can't play third down, and he doesn't catch the ball well. I know people are going to say, well, he catches the ball better. I'm telling you, he doesn't run a route tree. He's got to be looking for that skill set. And people are going to say, with my fourth-round pick in the NFL today, I can find a rookie value running back who can do conceivably more than Derrick Henry. Not with 20 carries the way Derrick Henry can, but his breakaway speed is starting to fade already. I don't have an offensive line and an offense constructed for that.
Paul Koharski from paulkoharski.com with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, PK, as you're well aware, a lot of Titans fans made a big deal of Jeffrey Simmons deleting his social media on Twitter and unfollowing the Titans on Instagram the other day. That seems to be the modern way that people operate in contract negotiations in today's NFL. We saw it from AJ last year. We saw it from Kyler Murray last year. What do you make all that and what it means in the Jeffrey Simmons contract discussions?
It's the most childlike behavior ever to take a team off your socials. Like, to think that has some bearing on a team. To think that Rand Carthon looks at that and goes, oh, I better get moving on Jeffrey Simmons is ridiculous. Now, he took down his socials entirely, which, I can't object to that. Like, you remove the temptation to say anything out there that would hurt yourself. So I can't argue with that. That, to me, is smarter than removing the team from your socials. I got into it a little bit with Taylor Lewan on Twitter because I wrote, disregard if they did something like this. And Lewan said, it worked for A.J. Brown. And I said, come on, Taylor, if you think that's what worked for A.J. Brown, you didn't pay close enough attention. And he said something like, all I know is one of us negotiated a big contract and one of us didn't. And I said, did you remove the Titans from your socials? And one-word answer. And he said, it was an option given to me as a strategy, but no, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So he did not, and he did quite well. And a lot of people do not, and they do quite well. Look, Jeffrey Simmons needs to be one thing, patient. There's no ticking clock on Jeffrey Simmons right now. Titans have cap problems. They're looking at it has to wait. They have contractual control for 2 years. It's not going to take 2 years. It probably gets done around camp time. If he had better agents, they would be telling him that. He's got kid agents, at least like an uncle involved with the.
I've long thought Lamar Jackson should have one. So just to separate himself from, the emotion of what's your take on this entire situation with the non-exclusive tag? Where do you think this is going? Do you think collusion is a realistic thing here?
Well, I don't know that it's collusion for everybody in the league to say, I don't want to pay guaranteed. Many can't. Many are not rich to the degree that the Haslams are rich. And I don't know about Lamar Jackson. Everybody says, oh, you could get yourself an MVP caliber quarterback. I mean, there's no denying that the guy won an MVP. But to me, there are a couple levels of MVP quarterbacks. There's like a perennial MVP quarterback, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. And there's a guy who maybe flashed and won an MVP, and then I don't know if I wouldn't hesitate to give up 2 first-rounders for a franchise quarterback if I was comfortable downfield and if I was confident that he could stay healthy, which I think is, I've said this time and time again, a bit of a skill in the NFL and a skill that he hasn't exhibited the last 2 years. So I understand people being wary of him, and I think the collusion thing is overblown. A long-term thing because there's just too much risk involved.
Well, PK, we're a week away from NFL free agency. Excited to have you on next week to talk about it. Thanks for being with us this morning, and we'll talk to you next week.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. More on that coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Magnon all the way to the rim. He got it! The Commodores look to continue their accomplishment. Catch all the action on your home for the Commodores. 93.3 Classic Hits. And right here on 102.5 and 1.
This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. These are carefully chosen timepieces in pristine condition. It's time to treat yourself for something great. And listen to this. With the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a beautiful beautiful pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings of the highest quality free. That's a $6,000 value. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers are on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of our special financing and get a 2-carat lab-grown pair of diamond stud earrings of the highest quality valued at $6,000 absolutely free. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday only, and only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Spring. While supplies last, see store for details.
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, it's Chef Phillip at Bar Lines at the Omni Hotel. Come try our new Nashville hot fish and chips. Beer-battered black cod served over crispy fries or tots with Omni's own Nashville hot season blend. Served with chipotle slaw and malt vinegar tartar sauce.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bar Lines in Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price. Heating and Cooling. All new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Woody Harrelson stars in Champions.
Are we trying to lose this game?
He's bad boy basketball. Now he's taking the most unlikely team.
I'm your homie with an extra chromie.
All the way.
Hear that? We're gonna be champions!
I have Down syndrome. I'm not deaf.
Say it loud.
Champions. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. Only in theaters Friday.
Hi. Who's this?
Buzz. He appears whenever you eat Honey Nut Cheerios.
Like a genie?
Sure.
Ooh, does he grant wishes? I wish I lived in a giant boot. No, I wish I could swim with a humpback whale. No.
I can grant you a delicious bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, which can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
Ooh, with heart shapes, too.
Happy heart-shaped Cheerios are back for a limited time. Pick up a box of Honey Nut Cheerios at your local store for an easy, delicious, and heart-healthy start to your day.
Want to weigh in on the conversation?
It's a brain booster.
Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is and the Game Nashville app.
The college basketball tournament is right around the corner, and it's time for you to sign up to play the official Game Bracket Challenge, brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports. You can go to thegamenashville.com/bracket challenge or the Game Nashville app to Rexrode 102.5-106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studios, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. We'll have Willie Donnick coming up at 8:30. So he can provide his path. Could be that too.
That's what I'm counting on.
Looking forward to that coming up at 8:30. Thanks to Paul Koharski for joining us in the last segment. What did you make of PK's take there on the Mike Silver, Jonathan Jones, quote-unquote, conflicting reports as it relates to Derrick Henry?
Yeah, well, it is absolutely true that unless you feel like you can invalidate the reporter of the initial report on something like this, if you're refuting it, then did Jonathan Jones spend all day making sure that every other GM did not hear anything about Derrick Henry?
Right.
And I think my biggest problem, and we've talked about this earlier in the show, is shopping. Because it's just shopping means we act what you should do in this job. And my guess is that's all it is. And my guess is they don't trade him. And my guess is Tannehill and Henry are in the backfield now.
Non-exclusive franchise tag by the Baltimore Ravens yesterday. He'll be paid $32.4 million by Baltimore next year if that tag holds up, and no other deal is reached at that point. The cost now for the non-exclusive franchise tag window being open, it means teams, part of the compensation would be the team has to pay Lamar Jackson whatever that contract number is going to look like, and then 2 first-round picks to the Baltimore Ravens as well. So it kind of felt like it was trending this way to the franchise tag with Lamar Jackson. I don't think you make of the situation that Lamar Jackson now finds himself in and what the potential interest around the league could look like for Lamar Jackson, given the price that would be required to pay to go get him.
Yeah, like PK said, collusion is an obvious. As soon as you have all these teams instantly yesterday going through reporters saying not interested, no thanks, we're good. And I know the Falcons, there was a little different with them because there was some, and I forget who reported it, but someone reported the Falcons were interested. By the way, there's an example of a report being refuted.
Yep.
Again, I don't remember the initial report, but then multiple people yesterday said, no, they're not. And so that was them, but then other teams kind of had that out there too. So immediately people go to collusion. The collusion to me in this league, I still have a hard time want to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
That it would really be hard for that to – I understand cost control, and I understand everybody's mad at Jimmy Haslam for the Deshaun Watson ridiculous contract, and they should be. But straight up thorough collusion here. If someone believed that Lamar Jackson's going to come in there and deliver a Lombardi trophy, I think they'll be like, yeah, you guys collude all you want. I'm going to go ahead and sign him up. And I think PK is right. It's I understand him looking at that deal and saying, are you kidding me? And wanting that. But to me, I read it as like, okay, go see for yourself.
Yeah.
Go. If you can do it. And now, of course, they still have the option of matching whatever he may get. If he goes, if it's too much, they'll get 2 first-round picks. Although, like if it went that way, like the Ravens, like what if it did go that way?
I mean, as somebody pointed out, they have another Pro Bowl quarterback on their roster.
Yes, exactly.
I'm just saying.
Great point.
Yes, the Pro Bowl is a great thing. I mean, look, what I'd love to know is how do other teams value Lamar Jackson, right? I mean, he's not going to get that fully guaranteed contract. The Deshaun Watson contract is absurd. I mean, that's what it is. So he's not going to get that. How far? What will he take? I guess is the good question. Like, what is good enough for Lamar Jackson, and will he take less somewhere else based on the damage that this process has done to his relationship with the Ravens? I mean, look, to your point, this is a pretty good example of why agents are valuable. Like, you don't have to listen to teams list out the reasons why they don't want to pay you what you think you're worth. Like, we've talked about this in other sports, like in the NHL with arbitration hearings. Not very pleasant to go sit through that. And a lot of times you try to run. So how does that affect what he's willing to take from someone else? And is there anybody out there that's willing to pay the price? Or is this just –
because the exclusive tag's $45.
Correct.
I mean, it's a lot of money. I mean,
it's a lot of money.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I only make like $28 million a year. So, I mean, believe me,
you take 32.
Yeah, I would definitely take 32. But shame for the league. And then they could tag him again, by the way. I mean, it's just.
By the way, I saw there's a stat that somebody brought up on the text line that I saw the other day too, and I need to verify it and make sure that it's true. But it was basically like a side-by-side comparison of the money that Lamar Jackson has made in the NFL and the money that your boy Taysom Hill has made in the NFL. And it's like the exact.
What's the guarantee number on that? The actual guarantee number. I mean, man, that's a.
Then Saquon gets tagged.
That is an interesting, right?
He had $82 million guaranteed.
Then Saquon gets tagged. Yeah, there you go. So you got a subpar quarterback for his career, becomes I'd say, above average quarterback last year with Daboll as his coach. Right? Above average. Like right around the league average.
Okay. I can get there, yeah.
Which is a big step forward.
For sure.
But then he gets
and
that
people ready
bag.
To run him out of town. Yeah.
He gets that bag, and then Saquon, yeah.
Hire his agent.
Saquon,
damn.
Yeah, but it's also just,
it's quarterback.
It's also just, and so I get it if I'm Lamar Jackson looking around saying, look at what I've done. But, the durability thing that PK brought up.
Messaged me yesterday that thought I was nuts, that I said Tannehill could probably get a first-round pick back in a trade. And I was like, man, are you seeing some of the deals these quarterbacks are getting? He could absolutely get a first-round pick back in a trade.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. I think it comes down to the obviously if things fall through, like if Aaron Rodgers didn't scrape the resin out of the bong before the meeting yesterday, and people were
brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. If you correctly guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game tomorrow night, you win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Your next chance to participate is tomorrow morning at 8:45. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Willie Donick. You'll get his thoughts on Vanderbilt's path to the NCAA tournament. Some disagreement between Joe Rexrode and Willie Donick over the weekend. We'll sort that out coming up next. This is
Mark Jankowski.
The Predators continue their road trip against the Arizona Coyotes. Pregame at 7. Puck drop at 8 on your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experience than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
It isn't a pill. Today, Wednesday, March 8th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now, and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and patented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today.
Provide the Nashville community with low use tinctures, topicals, and pet products too. We are a Pig-10 company. Our hemp is organically grown and produced in Nashville, Tennessee from sustainably sourced non-GMO genetics. All of our products are lab tested. Find all of our products at CourationCompany.com.
Irons, the new Stealth 2 Woods combines speed and forgiveness to unlock forgiveness. And the new Stealth HD irons deliver high launch with draw bias to give you the confidence to expect better shots more often. Swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, unmatched expertise, unmatched service.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years? The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lebitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Wednesday morning. Willie Donick is in the midst of a Nashville Predators road trip that has traversed, I believe, almost the entire continent. He's in Arizona, I believe, this morning. Willie, good morning. Thanks for being with us so early out there. Do you know what day it is?
Our fourth time zone in 6 days, or now it's 7 days, I guess. We arrived yesterday in Arizona, who is on mountain time still. They don't change the clock. So that's the other thing you got to do when you get to Arizona is check and see, is what I'm seeing on my phone the correct time? Did it change?
Arizona Coyotes. But, Willie, there was a really interesting back and forth over the weekend between you and Joe Rexrode on Twitter about Vanderbilt, the resume that they've built to this point, and what's required for them to get in the NCAA tournament. We heard Joe talk about this on Monday on his version of the Rex Rant and what he believes is required for Vanderbilt moving forward. And you are someone that we've long trusted in terms of the college basketball knowledge officially today for them tomorrow. What comes to mind? What do you think is required for Vanderbilt to punch their ticket into the NCAA tournament as they move forward?
Well, first of all, let me say that I really enjoyed the Rex Rant, and I enjoyed Joe and I's back and forth Twitter fire, and I apologize for the all caps because yes, that was definitely emotional on the plane. I was caught in red-handed by Max Hurst behind me on the plane, and I was firing off tweets at a heated pace, and I wanted to get it off of there, but before we took off, the Rex Rant was right on too, because what a lot of people do is they look at their team's resume and they say, well, that looks like an NCAA team. It's like NCAA tournament resume, so our team should be in. And they have not taken a sheet and numbered it 1 to 68 and started doing the research like you should if you're a bracketologist. And so that's what I try to do every year. So I get Joe on that because people aren't doing it relative to the rest of the field. So when we talk about what has to be done to get in, we don't know what has to be done. Last night, Charleston, who's had a great year, they were in a battle in their conference championship game. Had they lost, and thank goodness they didn't, that's another bubble team you'd have to contend with. So you need a little bit of luck, along those lines. Rutgers and Michigan, they play each other in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. Somebody's going to lose. Somebody's going to get a quality win. I would think the winner of that game feels pretty good. The loser, how do you feel? Do you get in?
It's funny because I do think every year this week we say, oh, this game means this, but again, it's just thrown into the mix of a team's resume, right? I mean, conference tournament count if you add a huge win to your resume or two or three. That's exactly what right. It is. But oh, they won this or they got to the title game. Did they beat crappy teams all the way to the title game? What does that do for them? Didn't do anything for them, right?
No,
but
exactly.
It's a great question.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that game, right?
Yeah, it could be an elimination game. Could be.
Let's take Penn State. Penn State plays Illinois. They've beaten Illinois twice, but they play Illinois again. If they lose that game, they're going to be sweating big time. Right, that's a team that's right on the borderline. Okay, so now let's get to Vanderbilt.
Just explain to us why you have Vanderbilt as a 3 seed. Come on, Willie.
Well, here's the other thing about the Rex rant. If people didn't actually read back and forth what we were talking about, into the tournament since 17, so they're dying to get in there. So I can understand how bad they want to see it, and they are red hot right now, and they deserve to get consideration. But I do think their bubble resume, if you look beyond the net, is absolutely NCAA worthy. Okay, so again, what they have to do to get in, I'm not sure yet. But let me just make the case. Okay, first of all, Vanderbilt has the 6th toughest strength of schedule in the country, number 6. The last time they made it, 14.
And they had number 1, right?
Number 1.
Yep.
Number 1. So it's a very similar resume to that when you really look at it. What's changed is that they now have this net, and the RPI is now more or less obsolete. Okay, so they're 82nd in the net as of last night when I was doing this. And what's really weird about the net, one of the reasons their net is so low, 101 to 44, then they won 8 out of 9, and their net has only jumped about 8 spots, 8 to 10 spots, right? So it's really hard to improve your net. The net isn't going to get better. Even if they go and win 3 games in the SEC tournament, I don't know that the net's going to change based on what we've seen. Right, it's fairly locked in. So I played for Eddie Fogler, who played for Dean Smith. Jerry Stackhouse played for Dean Smith. Dean Smith was doing points per possession, all of that stuff 30, 40 years ago. So I understand what efficiency is. It's an important thing. But, Joe, if my team beats your team in a basketball game and the score is 80 to 79, but you do the points per possession and it works, right? In the efficiency should be a marker what you're trying to do, but it should be about results to me.
Yes.
Anyway, it's a factor, but it's not the only factor. All of the other ratings, you mentioned, Joe, in your rant, the KPI, Vanderbilt's 40 there. It's much more indicative of what their resume looks like to me.
It's a better rating than the net, flat out. And I've thought that for years.
Well, and we'll find out if the committee agrees on that. It's on the NCAA tournament site. And so, for example, Mississippi State is 46 in the net. Vanderbilt's 82. Mississippi State's 54th in the KPI, and Vanderbilt's 40. So Vanderbilt to me, has a better resume than Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State doesn't have the bad loss, right? It depends. All of these teams on the bubble have strengths and weaknesses on the resume. But I look at it, too. If I'm on the committee, and this is what the late CM Newton used to tell me, an NCAA team on a neutral or road court. That's what he's looking at. He would look at it as a coach, and he would look at all these other numbers, but he would also say, this team has to show me you can win on a neutral court in the NCAA tournament. Than a lot of the bubble teams, if it weren't for the net, I would probably have them in. I've only missed on Vanderbilt one time, and that was back in 2000 when Arkansas made a great run in Nashville to win the SEC tournament, and it knocked Vanderbilt out. And I still thought Vanderbilt should have gotten in. And Kevin Stallings called our show the next day and went nuts on the air, which was magical radio, by the way. But I do this every year, and I really think that Vanderbilt should squarely be on the bubble. But if it's based on net, and like you said, Joe, if they're looking at a team that says, well, they're missing their best player going forward, then I think that's something to be worried about.
Well, that's really my only quibble with Saw's number is, like, to me, I think you can really make the case Vanderbilt has a better resume than Arkansas. Mississippi State does have some meat to the resume, right?
Of course. Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're on the bubble. This is what's interesting to me is Joe Lunardi, who is excellent, right? But I think he gets way too much attention, and he's only one guy. There are a lot of people that do this.
Yes.
Right, and so he won't completely agree. I think every time you get down to the last 4 to 6 spots, there's a ton of debate, especially we're sitting here on Wednesday. The difference between Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. I'll give you another one. Here's another thing I'm curious about. As Joe Lunardi up to the minute changes, I don't think he was even considering Vanderbilt. They were off the radar until a couple of weeks ago. Providence has been assumed in for a long time, but look at Providence beaten a NCAA tournament team on a neutral court or on the road all year. They are what we used to call, Joe, the home court heroes, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
They've beaten Marquette, UConn, Creighton. Their best road win is at Seton Hall, who's not a tournament team. And Seton Hall just crushed them in their arena where they're at their best. Their record against Quad 1 and Quad 2 is 6-9. Vanderbilt's is 9-10. I can make a pretty strong case that Vanderbilt's resume is better than Providence. Arizona.
You're locked in there.
So let's do it.
Let's do that. We'll have Joe's response coming up next. Take your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025. I got a pair of 2-day passes to give away to the sold-out Moon River Festival on the banks of the Tennessee River in Chattanooga. Coming up September 9th and September 10th. Goodbye Road, Nickel Creek, Marcus King Band, Judah and the Lion, and more will be there those 2 days. Be caller number 5, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win a pair of 2-day passes to the Moon River Festival coming up in Chattanooga September 9th.
And big win.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Yeah! Woo! Catch every lap of NASCAR on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
The Electronic Express tax refund sale is extended. Get up to 50% off doorbusters and 40% off in every department, including 4K TVs, computers, gaming consoles, Bluetooth speakers, smartwatches, and more. Refresh your kitchen with appliances in stock and ready to deliver. And buy now, pay later with up to 3 years free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Your chance to get that rare, hard-to-find luxury pre-owned Rolex timepiece is here at Genesis Diamonds. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Genesis is hosting an epic pre-owned luxury Rolex event featuring a stunning new selection of these hard-to-find watches. Hulks, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, all the hottest models that people wait years for. These are carefully chosen timepieces in pristine condition. It's time to treat yourself for something great. And listen to this. With the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a beautiful pair of 2 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings of the highest quality free. That's a $6,000 value. Also for this event, our pre-owned Rolex buyers are on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of our special financing and get a 2-carat lab-grown pair of diamond stud earrings of the highest quality valued at $6,000 absolutely free. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday only. And only at Genesis Diamonds, your home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs. While supplies last, see store for details.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
As long as he wants to coach there, he will be able to coach there.
I think that really did save the hope of this team.
Michelle and Junie, presented by Superbook Sports, every Saturday morning at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Good morning. Good morning.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
I had the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You can't let, like, the net is not non-factor. And so between, like, for example, Mississippi State, they just beat them, right? For sure. But the difference between those two is that Mississippi State does not have the bad losses that Vanderbilt has. Arkansas, they beat them, and I think they're Arkansas 8-10 in the SEC, which again doesn't matter. And they're
like 20 in net.
Right, they're exactly like, how are they 20 and Vanderbilt's in the 80s? It is weird, but they did beat like San Diego State. They beat Texas A&M, a team Vanderbilt didn't beat. Vanderbilt beat Tennessee. I mean, look, you can go through all this stuff and you can really drive yourself crazy.
That was from the Rex Rant on Monday. Joe Rexrode laying it out there. We've heard Willie Donick make the case for Vanderbilt and what we've seen from them to this point and lay out resumes side by side. Joe, we've heard from Willie, your response to what Willie Donick had to say.
Well, first of all, did you see Mitch Light's tweet? He just tweeted at Max Hurst, says, Max, I'm working on an oral history of Willie's tweet storm. When are you available for an interview? So I really that'll be fantastic in The Athletic. So, no, listen, I think, first of all, Willie gets full credibility on this because he does this every year. I mean, he gets into this stuff. I love this stuff, but I don't go through – I just read all the bracketologists and just mimic them. So kudos to Willie on that. And I think he makes a lot of good points. The one thing that I would quibble with, Willie, in our back and forth the other day is – and I don't have – it would take me 10 minutes to find the exact tweet. But I talked about the Liam Robbins factor, and you said, well, they already proved it, right? They did. They beat Kentucky that night, losing him. Fantastic response. They did beat Mississippi State at home. Huge win. But this is where, to me, the net is going to – I don't think the net's that big of a deal. And I think because of the net, I think some of these bracketologists out here are just sleeping on Vanderbilt. Now, Shelby Mast from USA Today has them as his fourth team out right now. So more and more people are catching on to this. They're going to sit in there and talk about all these teams extensively. They're going to go through everything. And, yes, recent performance does matter. I mean, they don't do the last 10 anymore as an official metric, but it matters. But also, let's go back to that team. There are some parallels, Willie, between this team and the 2017 team. Okay, so let's take Luke Cornett out of there. And let's say they win a couple games after they lose him, but take him out of that team. That is a gaping loss. It's not as impactful with this team, I think, because QMB is does a lot of good things and they have a lot of depth. But they're going to sit in there and say, okay, so you're telling me you take this guy who's been going off for about 20, 12, 5 blocks. He's the defensive player of the year in the league, and this is still a team we think can win in the NCAA tournament. Now look, if they show it this week, If they go beat Kentucky, then you have to keep answering it. But that is going to be discussed extensively. Like, what is this team now without him? And I hear you on 2 games, but they got to do more. They got to prove it more.
Well, see, this is why I got hot in the Rex rant, is because you were saying that Vanderbilt has to not only beat Kentucky. Well, first of all, we know that if they lose the first game, which is not a given. I mean, they lost to LSU, or it's the only team that's beaten them in the last month and a half, right? If they lose to Georgia or LSU, this is end of discussion, right? That's going to end.
I would
the
think
discussion.
so, yeah.
But then you're telling me you were holding Vanderbilt to a standard that you were not holding all of these other bubble teams, about half of which are going to lose their first game in the conference tournament. Rutgers plays Michigan. Penn State plays Illinois. USC and Arizona State, 2 teams that I think Vanderbilt flat out has a better resume than, if you look. One of those teams is going to be out. So a lot of these bubble teams are going to lose, but you were saying that Vanderbilt has to not only win against Kentucky, and by the way, we know what that's going to be like. That's going to be 95% Kentucky fans. It always is, right? Or maybe there'll be a slice of Vanderbilt fans, and there'll be a slice of other teams' fans that want Kentucky to lose. But we know how Kentucky fans masterfully take over the building. The Blue Mist, as we've called them.
Why, thank you.
So that's a very tough ask to say that they're going to beat Kentucky.
Agree.
But you were saying that they've got to turn around and beat Texas A&M.
Well, I'm guessing. I'm not picking. I'm guessing.
But, Joe, that there's just no way relative to the other teams on the bubble that if that were to happen, then they are an absolute lock to get in if they win 3. I will make the case that just projecting, and that's something that Lunardi doesn't do, right? He just does up to the second.
Right, like what? Yeah, exactly.
It changes by the second. You know, it's so ridiculous. They bring him on, and one game goes final up. They moved up a spot.
Right.
But that's not really the end game. The end game is where are you on Sunday?
And Tom Crean, by the way,
everybody else.
I don't know if you saw this. Tom Crean agrees with you. If they beat Kentucky, they should be a lock. And you know what? They might be. That's the thing. Like we all are guessing based on what the bracketologists have done all year, and so Vanderbilt's off the radar. My question would be, 1, Robbins, and 2, also, like, how much of the bad losses matter? I mean, in my opinion, I would dismiss when a team changes as much as they have during the year. I'd kind of dismiss those. You know, now LSU was a bad loss recently with Robbins, but look, you could be right. I mean, I'm guessing that they need both of these wins. But every year when this bracket comes out, there are 2 or 3 teams you're like, what? They're in, or they're a 4, or they're out, right? And it's like totally contrary to what all the bracketologists have done, right?
Well, the bracketologists have been looking at Providence, at Rutgers, at Oklahoma State for weeks and watching every move they make. Those teams have been falling back while Vanderbilt has been streaking up, right? But they haven't really been looking at Vanderbilt. I think if you really dive down and look at the resume, Oklahoma State's lost 5 out of 6. Rutgers has lost 6 out of 8. Rutgers has 62 strength of schedule. Providence, 101. Vanderbilt, 6. Remember, so Vanderbilt's got way stronger parts of their resume than some of these other bubble teams. I mean, so I, again, look at side-by-side comparisons. So I will make the case, and look, again, if it comes down to net and they scratch him for Robin, my opinion on the injuries is if you want to knock a team's seed down because a key player is hurt, then that I get. But a team that's deserving to make the tournament should not be left out of the tournament because of an injury. Injuries are happening all over the country every game. Okay, and I realize this is a big one, but if you deserve to get in, and your so UCLA, I think, just had an injury, or pick a team that's got a great player. If that player gets hurt tomorrow, they're not going to say, "Well, let's not put him in the tournament," right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I just find that really disappointing. If you're going to say, "Let's leave a team out that deserves to be in, but their best player got hurt," and they just beat Kentucky at Kentucky. They just turned around and beat another team that a lot of people have in right now, Mississippi State, without Robbins. So they're still a pretty good team. They've shown that they can still be competitive and successful without him. And by the way, they've had to play a lot of games without him. I really feel bad for him. Had he not been hurt, I think we're talking about a lottery pick, and we're talking about a team that would have made it last year if Robbins had played the whole season. When they had Pippen, there's no question they would have made it, I think. So it's a shame. But as we go forward here, guys, look at side by side. I mean, do a comparison. You tell me Vanderbilt's resume versus Providence, who most people have in. Some people have them as an 8 seed. To me, Vanderbilt has the better resume. Better wins, better performances on the road, on a neutral court, better strength of schedule. So I still subscribe to what you hear the committee talk about a lot. Who did you play? Who did you beat? Where did you beat them?
Willie, to borrow a phrase from your friend of the past, we've got to run, but we appreciate you joining us today. We'll catch up with you down the road. That's going to do it for us today. Chase and Michelle coming up next. You're listening to 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio? Wait